Okay, so basically, the first thing you want to make sure we do is we add a microphone source. Okay, and then before I address that, let me go ahead and add my camera source. Hello. See, I swear. So, because I go here, but if I do, oh, I'm going to regret this, because it's going to mess up every other scene. Oh, wait, my mouse is coming off. No, it can only go that far because I don't want to get my other screen in shot. Hello. All right. I'll explain this in a second here. My dude, you are a bot. Go to hell. This is spam, I guess. Selling followers. Well, I guess I see why you have mods, because that is good to... Reporting tools are more elaborate, but okay, anyway. Well, hey, I got the email. Anyway, hi, how you doing? Welcome to a Friday night bonus stream here in the Void. So here's what my thought was. Boy, this is like the first time I'm looking at myself today. It's a Ben day, isn't it always? So basically, I see a lot of talk about, I want to set up a fancy streaming overlay, but I need to, find somebody who knows After Effects to commission it so it's animated and yada, yada, yada. And my thought on that is, well, you don't gotta. And rather than being like a well, actually kind of guy, I thought I'd be like, and here's what I mean. Because I'll be honest, pretty much only recently have I been starting to put like MP4 looping animations into my scenes, and that's only because like I found a couple of people who are really talented and give them away for free and only ask for like credit, and like, yes, of course, happily, you're fantastic at this. Credit's the least I can do. I think for the two that I use the most from, I have actually like I have paid what I wanted to, a non-zero amount, on like, but by the time I've used like 10 pieces from them, I'm like, no, actually, you absolutely deserve something for how much I like what you've done so far. That's my stay awake potion. So, but what I do tonight is, so while they're great, if you go check the, I'm like, I should be able to go lower because I have more screen. No, I'm stuck in this box. When you're watching on Twitch, I have an About panel. I credit them down there, and I try and share the stuff that I see them sharing on Twitter. See, I want to say, and also I'll link to them in the YouTube description, but honestly, I might forget, and I've already done the work of collecting that, but it's in the Twitch player, and I just don't want to do that work again because I'm feeling lazy. We'll see what happens. I gave you 2 places you can definitely find. But yeah, but the point is, like, let's say you want to commission something. Let's say you want something custom. Let's say you don't have the money to commission somebody, but you still want to do something, fancier than just a static image. You want to do something a little more custom. Cool, we can do that. So I thought I'm going to show you the way I would do that, pretty much just using like filters and effects here in OBS, and we'll take it from there. I have a see if I can show this. I have a tiny doodle in the corner of my notebook for like kind of what I had in mind to create, and I'm not even fully sold on that yet, but it's something to go on, and it's a plan, and we can go from a plan. And to that end, I haven't done any work on this yet. This doodle is the entirety of the plan and preparation I have done for this stream. Everything else, you're watching me do it for the first time. You're watching me get it ready. You're watching me implement it. And again, to that end, this void is a brand new scene collection in OBS, which means it contains exactly one scene, still with the default name scene, and all I have done is add 3 elements to it. The first is the mic. I can't even do the joke. I'm like, no, I'm not going to talk when the mic is muted. The mic is muted, so it won't be captured in the archive, so it will be wasted. Because I have very specific brain worms, so I can't do that bit. But yes, we have a mic. We have the cam. And of course, we have this text that I threw in the background here. Just while ooh, why is it snapping there? That's a curious question. All right, let's put me down here for a minute. And I'm just going to get rid of this text because it has served its purpose. Goodbye. All right, so it's just the camera and the mic and the void. But here's the cool part. We can fill the void with whatever we want. What do we want to fill it with? Let's start with a color. No. Let's start with OBS. So I'm going to add... just to make this as confusing as possible, I need a window capture. This is going to be OBS. Oh no, I name my stuff, try to be clearly. So this is a capture, specifically this is OBS. We are going to capture... Uh-oh. Why can I not touch anything in there? Uh-oh. Did something just break? Hey, did OBS just crash? Or are we getting that weird thing that has happened sometimes? No, because I can click on this, I can move it. I can close that. Whoop. No, don't show that. Hang on, don't show that. Is it really not going to let me capture OBS? Wait, that's not right. That's not right. Let me capture OBS. Oh, that's rude. I mean, maybe that's smart. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to live over here. I'm going to move this. We're going to swap these things. I'm going to have to be talking over here now because this is where OBS is going to live when we get rid of that capture, if that's not going to work. And can I say a display capture, which is right screen, which is the one that doesn't have my notification pop-ups, that doesn't have... No, let me get the right screen. There we go. Okay, that's what I wanted. Believe it or not, this is exactly what I wanted. Okay. This is going to be a headache. You cannot stop me from hurting. Okay, first of all, let's put this under main cam. Second of all, we're going to shrink it so it's over there, and now we have this solid border around it so we can kind of get a grip on what we're looking at, what is the screen, whatever. Right? There's no info on here. No, you know it, you know it, you know it. Okay. And I'm going to lock that one right there. Okay. Next plan. Next plan. Next plan. I'm going to shrink me a little bit more just so that for this. Okay. So now as you can see over here, I have just these 3. We only have the one scene, just the audio here. This is what we got. This is what we're doing. Okay, good. One thing I do want to fix is I want to filter... I want to add a noise gate. And I'm just going to leave it default because I'm... Ooh, no. Bring down the open threshold because somehow I actually speak kind of quiet sometimes. Let's bring that down to like 45. Okay, I can kind of buy that. No, wait, I don't want noise gate. I want noise suppression. That's what I want. Good quality. Yeah, that's fine. I want to do that, and that'll be fine. That's always just good to throw on. You know what? I can turn this. I'm going to be looking this way. This should actually hear me better. All right, next step. We want to start with a color. So what I'm going to do is we're going to add color source. I'm going to call this one. What color do we want? I'm going to call this azure, because I like azure. And it's going to go here, and it's going to go full. Let's throw this all the way into the back. I actually like to keep my audio sources as the very bottom of the list, just because like that way they're behind the background in a weird way. It just makes sense to me. All right, don't worry about it. Right, now we need to actually select the color. I like, see, kind of over here, but let's slide it a little, like a little towards green. Not so much that it actually gets green. Yeah, kind of somewhere over here, but darker. Yeah, let's go. This is the color I always try to paint my cars in racing games. All right, let's go start something like that. Now, second thing. I said I had to keep checking my language because I wanted to say with just OBS, but that's not true. We're going to be using mostly OBS. Here's the other thing I'm going to use. I'm bringing up right now on this screen, but I'll move it here. I'm bringing up Krita. Krita is an open source art program. So if you have Photoshop, if you have Clip Studio Paint, if you have Paint Tool, Sci, whatever you have, that can be your stand-in. If you currently have none of them, this is free software. You can go get it. You can get this right now. You can use the exact same tools that I'm using. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new file. And I want to make something very simple. I want to let's make it like 500 wide. Let's make it like 250 tall. Resolution won't matter because we're using it on screen. And what? Let me resize that canvas because that is taller than it needs to be. Height in pixels, we can make that, well, I don't know, 175. Don't link this. This will stay whatever 100% was in percent. Okay, there we go. I like this. Now, I'm going to invert the background because we're going to be drawing in a light color. We have this, and I'm going to turn on wraparound mode. What does wraparound mode do? Okay, glad you asked. So this is now basically in pattern drawing mode. That's actually compared to what I was using before. I was using Krita primarily because this is what I use primarily. So any of the art you see me post that isn't a photo of a notebook, I probably at least touch with Krita at some point. If not, did in whole in Krita. This is now basically in pattern drawing mode. So let's take white. I just need a big old brush. I want to make it, yeah, about that big. Actually, I'll start not in pattern mode. I'm just gonna put a poof. There we go. We got a poof. I'm gonna do this at the bottom edge. This is gonna be a little weird, isn't it? Now when we go to wraparound mode, now you can see it just tiles it everywhere. And because the thing that I want to do with this is actually, I want to draw a bunch of poofs, and I want them to wrap around. And let's see, you want to add some smaller ones for texture. can actually add like super small ones, jutting off for, you know, a sense of detail. I don't know. I don't actually consider myself particularly good at um, like the design of patterns and cute stuff here. Um, but so the secret is because we drew it in pattern mode, when we turn this back off, what we now know is that this is a seamlessly tiling pattern. Except I'm gonna be weird about it. Oh, okay, good. I did draw it on the right layer. I was worried. I'm gonna take the top half and say we don't want that. I'm actually going to take the bottom half and I want this to fill up more. And I'm just gonna sort of fill this in. Then I'm gonna no, yeah, I want a lot of space at the bottom for like overlaying purposes once we get in there. Remove the background. So now we have this transparent white cloud kind of thing. Ooh, do I wanna Okay, hang on. I actually just had an idea on how to improve this. I'm going to group these. I'm actually going to take a very subtle gray and put it, just fill this with it, and then say mask to layer. And now on top, once again, mask to layer. Now I'm going to take my white and I'm just going to come up and boy, how do I do this? Okay, I should do it in wrap mode to make sure that it's tiling, right? And I want to say like, okay, if we poof you like that, then we can come around and just sort of like cut these off, but only so that we can come back in. No, actually that's fine. That overlay is good. We're gonna do the same kind of over here, and then again, cut it down, but only so that way we can layer it. Let's do a little more over here. You know what? Because that's like that, I'm gonna have to go like this. And I should have done it over here too, but I'm a dope. I'm a big old dope. I don't know if you knew that about me. Actually, you know what? I can leave them connected. I can actually come back in over here and give it a one of these. Yeah, that starts to make sense. It doesn't have to be perfect. Like I said, I'm kind of just sketching in a weird way with this. Yeah, and then what if so the other thing I can do is I can put it on a new layer. So I could have been doing this before, and then I can cut just this one that I'm putting in here. And then when I collapse it back down, yeah, that looks fine to me. What I actually want to do is see, the thing is, this is a background aspect, right? So we actually don't want it to take in too much attention. So I want this to be basically as subtle a change as we can give it. That's a fine enough. Now out of wraparound, we lose the background, and I'm going to save this as a boy, 27, yeah. Oh no, we're in emotes. That's fine. I live here. Overlay demo. And this is going to be a PNG, and it's going to be called Clouds LR Wrap, just to let me know that this is tiles left to right. Okay. Okay, now then, back to our OBS. Ah, here we are. We're back. Right, that means... No, you could see me. I couldn't see me. So I don't exist. Uh-oh. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take... We're just going to bring that in. We're bring in an image. This is going to be BG Clouds Bottom. Welcome to Cloud Bottom. I'm Cloud. Let's see here. Let me just go find this. I don't even know what I'm going to be looking through to find it. And I'm worried. I don't know what I'm showing off at this point. We're in here. We're in here. We're in here. Okay, there it is. Yay, there it is up there. If I was smart, I would have remembered that I'm building this for a 1080 scene, and I probably would have gone like 1080 by 175, 250, whatever I set it at. I didn't. I'm a doofus, so this is going to look kind of blown out. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to blow it up. I want these clouds to be maybe this big. Actually, I want it to go like, yeah, like just the highest point touches the, just barely overlapping with our screen, right? Okay, here's something cool we can do. Now we use filters, and filters are magic. Number one thing, we're going to apply scroll. So here's the cool thing. Even before we really like enable scroll, so right now it's ready to scroll, but the speeds are all 0, so it's just going to sit still. But here's what we can do. We can limit the width. Here's the fun part. If you limit the width to higher than what it is, so let's say 1080, because that's the width of our screen. No. 1920? What size am I putting out? Okay, it would be 1920, but whoa, let's leave that color alone. What did I do here? Oh, it loops it by, not by screen space, but by, okay. All right, let me bring this back here. All right, you know what? We don't need it to be that high then. Like I said, I'm working this out right here with you for the first time. Hadn't thought any of this out ahead of time. Could you tell? All right, so we know 1080 was close. Excuse me. Thank you. And let's just ride this number up until we touch the edge of the screen, and then round it. 1125. Fine. Great, perfect. We have this, right? Good. And so theoretically, so I want to move this under our stuff over the color. Great. And you could kind of like leave it at that if you just want that nice little like border effect. I want to go a step more, which is, since we already have scroll up, we can just go ahead and just give it some. Just make it, what if it just went, you know? We get a little bit of a rolling cloud effect over here. I think that's already fancy. Maybe I'm lame. So, you know, let's put cloud behind us in front of the thing, right? Okay, good. Here's the, okay, what else do we want to do? So actually, I want to take, no, we're going to leave it like this for now. I do want to take cloud bottom. I want to copy it. I want to paste a duplicate. So duplicate means this is a separate instance of it. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it a new name. This is going to be BG Clouds Top. Ah, top. What does that mean you're going to do? I'll check this out. I'm going to go into the transform. I'm going to flip it 180 degrees. I'm going to set it to, let's see, our X position should be like 10, 8. No, I did it again. It's 1920. and it would be 0. I want the corner to be 0, so I change it from top left to bottom left. Boom. Now we go. Now we got that. Although actually, I want it to be less than that. I actually want this to be like a top border, but just a little bit. Like I just want to like bring it down enough so that it never fully disappears. This dip is the closest it's gonna get, but otherwise it's still there, you know. Um, and spinning it means that it's gonna rotate the other way. And now I love this. Now we're not just on the clouds, but um we're in like a cloud cave. We have a cloud roof as well as a cloud floor. I'm really into this actually. Believe it or not. Um what do we do next? Okay, what we do next is I open up a new browser window. So that way it doesn't have any of my hundreds of tabs open. Um and we want to go to pixabay.com. Pixabay is kind of like Shutterstock, except it's already royalty free. Um, well, with a lot of ads sort of tucked in there. And I just want to look at Sky. Because if we're already going with this, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, what do we... So, yeah, these are all the sponsored ones. But what do we got here? What do we like? I do like the space sky. I do like cloudy sky. Ooh, beach sky. Oh, the Northern Lights is really good. You know what? How about this one, actually? Because this is now... I actually like the sort of blue purple colors of it. The lightning is cool, but I think that's mostly going to be covered by our content, so it won't really be distracting. No, I don't want to do that. So let's just go ahead and grab this. Wait, can I do this? Is that... Nope, that's the preview. All right, give me a second. Hit this, hit that. It's going to ask me a CAPTCHA. Hit this, and then it goes weird, right? Because I have some sort of weird container things open. All right, so let me... Don't worry, I'll give me a second. I'm gonna hit this. Boats. All right, I'll identify boats for you, computer. There we go. I want to grab that. Now we have that. And you can actually just drag this right into OBS. Hey, okay. So we could bring it above the colors. That's already not that bad. Here's what I'm gonna do. Because we already like established a color that we want, right? So I'm gonna go to filters. I love filters. I don't know if you know this. What are we gonna add? Let's add color correction. Can I add... We're also gonna add blending mode, right? Okay. So the thing that we're going to do in color correction is we're going to bring down the saturation to make it black and white. Then we're going to go to the blend. Oh boy. Oh no, this works this way. Is this what I'm Luma key, transition override, chroma key, color grading, color. I don't really want color key. I don't really want dynamic blast. Dynamic blast. You know what? I think this is still going to be fine. Maybe we don't even need that. Because once you do that, you can kind of just bring the opacity down. And you can see that this isn't perfect, but it is going to sort of just add the values of the clouds, but let the color we pick show through. Um, Maybe I bring the saturation back up a little bit just to mix the color a little bit. Yeah, I kind of like that. That's kind of enough for me. Um, Great. Close that. Bring that back up. All right. So now I feel like we're doing kind of okay here, right? If I bring Krita back up, and then you'll get to see it as a this is what it would actually look like, and not the Hall of Mirrors nightmare effect. Okay. What do we want to do next? So like that's kind of, we're kind of there already, right? Here's something I want to do. Just because we're here. What do you know about stream elements? Is there anything safe I can show of stream elements? Nothing, just loading it up. Go learn stream elements. It's pretty easy. I'm gonna log in over here where you can't see. Right. And I'm gonna grab an overlay that I've already made because I won't lie, I kind of preferred the way Streamlabs worked, because Streamlabs I could get a widget and just adjust all of the sides and stuff here in OBS, where in Stream Elements what they really want you to do is to like design your whole overlay there and shove it here in OBS as one. Which, by the way, if you're here, learning this, maybe you want to go learn that too. I think they have decent like tutorials and examples and templates and stuff. I want to look at mine because ones I've already made. I want a chat box. I want chat box right. So I can grab this, copy URL. Now we come over here. We're going to add a browser source. This is going to be se dot, se because it's stream elements. I'm going to just go chat. That's going to go here. Let's throw this in here. And I don't even know. I think I want the height to be 1080 so it matches the screen. Width 800, we'll see how that does, right? So it looks like it went away. That's only because now it's a web page with a transparent background. But if I come over here and I type something in chat. Yay, okay, it appeared. Hooray. So what I can do is I can crop it just to over there, since that's where it's going to appear. Actually, I can crop it how far I want it away from the wall. And then we can just put it there, right? And then, actually, we can let that hang off. That's no problem. And then, hey, great news. Now we have chat here. Stream Elements is also kind of weird. So this is a chat box that somebody else made. They put in work. They developed it. I should like here's the thing. I use this. I'm not even actually sure how to find the like credit of this chat box through Stream Elements, because I had to go to the creator's like card Linktree whatever page where they had a link to like their template in the Stream Elements editor, and I had to go there and say save a copy to my overlays, because there is either just is no way to look it up in the Stream Elements gallery, or like I don't know if you can like clearly you can share them because that's what's happening, but there's not like a main repository where you can search by keywords. It is like here are the ones that they have cherry picked for the gallery. Also, you can share yours. Never the twain shall meet, right? It's odd. What are we doing? Okay. Let's. What else do we do here? I kind of like our clouds. Kind of like our. I actually really like these clouds. I ain't gonna lie. I really like these clouds. Let's lock everything. Let's adjust our cam now, because now we have like a sense. I can be smaller for one thing. You don't need to see this much of me. Arguably, nobody does. I can actually go ahead and I just take the arrow keys and move it out from the corner a number of times, but I haven't been counting. That looks good. And our image capture, I do want to sort of center it between the clouds at this point. Okay, so now you get something that comes to like personal preference, right? I personally hate when your overlay frame has a cutout for the like video feed to show through, but is what do you call it? But it has like fringes that overlay, like maybe there's a tree in the corner and a couple of the leaves go over. Um, like it's bad enough people who do full screen gameplay then have to contend with where do I put myself on the screen? You're always blocking something. And you saw how I was earlier that I couldn't bring myself to talk when I knew the mic was muted, even though that was the point of the gag. I could not commit to that bit. Of all bits, this one I could not abide by. Same kind of thing. Like, I cannot willingly, like, cover footage. Like, this is what we're here to look at. Why are you covering it? So I'm going to take this. I'm going to move everything over our background. I think that actually still looks good. I think you still see plenty of it. And interestingly, I can now bring myself up even that much, and we still see everything. We still see everything. You know what? I'm looking at that. I'm looking at that background. Right, the background needs something else. Okay, what is that background going to get? Mm, mm, brain, brain. We can do this. Here's what I want to do with that background. Let's go back to Krita. Let's make a new. This one can be real small. Let's do 100 by 100. And what I want to do is I'm not even going to worry about I want to make lines that are about this big. Let's do it in black. And I just want to draw straight lines across the page that much, because then when we look at it in wraparound mode, here's the thing, because they're straight lines, it's already making a perfect grid. That's about all I want. That's about all I want. Let's do this inverted though. So I'm gonna take. Oh right. Let's take off wraparound. So the lines that I just drew, I'm gonna select. I'm gonna select them. I'm gonna flip the selection, new layer, and I'm going to fill in the white, right? So now if we come down here and we flip it, that looks almost identical. Why doesn't it? Actually, you know what we can do, which is basically the same. We fill it with the white. We take the line tool, but we put it in erasing mode, and now we have it right. Close enough, whatever. I'm actually going to save it this way. So what we have now is we don't have a black and white grid with black lines. Now what we have is a white grid with cutout lines. So basically the difference is either being whatever our like neutral background is going to look like, we can either have the white squares and lighten it up for the grid that'll show through, or we have our black lines, which will darken the line part, but the neutral will be what goes through. But again, because you want your background to be, you got to think about your background elements. It's like, okay, what do you want to sort of jive together and sort of, you want like low contrast for things that don't draw the eye and high contrast for things that do draw the eye. So like I would want high contrast if I was doing something that if I was putting a big let's say I was putting a logo or something. We're going to do that before we're done here. I decided. Let's just go ahead and save this. This is PNG. This is grids underscore white tiles. Do I have very verbose naming schemes? I sure do. All right, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add, kind of like we did before. I'm going to add the image. This is going to be BG white tiles. And let me go ahead and load this up, and there we go. And you're looking to go again, oh man, that's small. Right, we're going to do the same trick though. I'm not going to mess with the size this time. I am going to filter it. First filter, scroll. And we're going to limit width and height. And of course, we're going to set these to, the width is 1920 and the height is 1080. So now it fills the whole screen. Great. Now we want our color correction, because I want this to be very, very slight, like just enough so that you notice it, right? Yeah, let's call it like that much. All right, let's leave it there for a second, because now that we're getting a picture of it, I want this to go just behind everything, but just above that background image. Which actually, if we're doing that, I want to actually bring this up so we have a bit more of the contrast in it. I can just bring it. Actually, no, maybe I always forget. Sometimes you want the, yeah, I think I want the gamma, because then, so basically if you lower the brightness, like, okay, this is the way that I understand it. If this is the range of, colors in your picture, and this is white, this is this is the lightest, this is the middlest, this is the darkest, right? And sort of over here you have white and black. All right, so yours might sit here, it might kind of fill it up, it'll whatever. So what contrast does as a setting is it adjusts this. It's like, okay, how wide of an area are we going to say that covers? So like if you set contrast in the middle, it's over here. So nothing's going to be white, nothing's going to be black, it'll be whatever. Brightness moves this way, okay? So that's why if you set brightness to high, some things hit white, and then the higher you go, the more things hit white, and it just flattens out at white. And the more you go down, it hits black, it flattens into black, okay? Gamma. So if you don't know what gamma is, it's like, it's kind of like brightness, but it's kind of just moving this one up and down in your accepted ranges. So like you kind of use like brightness and contrast to set the edges, and then gamma kind of says like, okay, well, you know, more things, we're gonna like just adjust the midpoint, so that way it's like, okay, if you do this, then more of the things are going to appear lighter than they appear dark, but they'll be at the top end of whatever you set your brightness at. And same thing down here, it'll push more things towards dark, but no darker than, you know, the bottom of what you have. My understanding is that's basically what gamma is. It's like brightness and contrast. It covers the range and the range within black to white. And gamma is an adjustment of where things fit within that range you set with the other two. Good. White tiles, filters. See, do I want that to go up a little bit? Yeah, maybe. See, here it feels like white, but it's almost a bit much. Like this starts to feel like almost like paper screen feeling, which is kind of what I'm going for, but I want it to feel more like almost like slightly frosted glass, I guess. So I'm going to bring it down so we can see through it a bit more, but basically I want the darkness of the lines to be super. And again, the reason why I'm using the white squares instead of the black lines is because I want the background to be the darker part, and I want to bring the contrast of it up towards our bright white clouds and what have you. And that's how I am sort of compressing the contrast of the background so that it is just the background, right? I'm not done with this. We can add more filters. We can go deeper. All right, I do want this to scroll a little bit. But I know what you're thinking. Oh, but we already have scrolling elements. It's just gonna, whichever way you scroll, it's just gonna match one or the other. Aha, I ain't done yet. Why'd I close the filters? I ain't done yet. I want to do 3D transform. Do I want to do corner pin, orthographic, orthographic? I want to do 3D transform first. So a thing about the filter menu is they apply in order, right? Because like I can take scroll. Can I duplicate this right here? I can duplicate this. Like if we take scroll, and then we have scroll 2, and we just set that to negative whatever the first one is, it stops because now those two are canceling each other out. Okay, I can do. Okay, let's do something really weird. Okay, I'm gonna set just to prove a point because that's what we're here for me to demonstrate a point, not to prove a point, to demonstrate it. Different. We're here to learn. So let's say the first scroll, right, didn't go all the way across. Let's just call it, I don't know, 1500. Right. Oh, is that actually not going to work? Oh, interesting. Right, but so now we see it's like, okay, it doesn't fit the whole screen, fine. Now we go, now we can move it. Now we take our second scroll. And no, it's not going to do what I thought. Right, because it is scroll here. Here's what I can do. Let's not demonstrate it with second scroll. Let's demonstrate it with padding. Right? So what did I bring this down to? I brought this down to 1500, which means to get the rest of the way to 1920, we need 420. Nice. So on the right, if we say 420, negative 420 because we're expanding it. So now what you actually see over here is we have this gap, but the padding has placed this blank space, so the frame of the source itself is going to fit all the way over here to full screen. Cool, right? Okay. But if we do that, we're doing that after the scroll. So we have the thing, we added the scroll, which told the thing, hey, loop out to this size, and now we're in there. Here's what happens if we swap it. If we pad first, what we have is, oh yeah, we can see it in this window. But if we pad first, what we have is the 100 whatever wide basic image plus a 420 blank space, then looping at the 1500 width, told to loop within those bounds. So, like I said, order matters. I don't always know what order they need to be in when I start, but if it's not doing what you expect it to, remember order matters. If you want to do something tricky, sometimes you can get away with it because order matters. Yeah, we don't want that. We want the scroll. We want this 1920. Okay. So 3D transform. All I want to do is, God, is this going to work? That's my question. I want to roll it. Dag nabbit. Can you see what? Actually, that's kind of an interesting pattern that it's making, especially if we actually get it up to 45. We get that nice weird diamond out of it. Oh, doy, I don't wanna do it in here. Because I kind of, here, we don't need this. See, I thought, whoa, wait, no, yes. No, wait, yes? Right, but it's not a square, so it messes with the, like it's rotating it, but because it is like keeping, because it is longer than it is tall. When we rotate it 90 degrees, it stretches the height to match the width, and it squishes the width to match the height. That's why it gets all messed up like this. Here's one way to fix that. Make it a square. There we go. Now when we go to spin it, it'll stay at whatever we want it to be, right? Okay. And okay, if we center it, it still doesn't quite work because why? Oh, I know what thing we do. Because we have turned it, and it is, so in the scroll filter, we set this box that is going to be. And then we rotated the box. But it's still a box. And when you rotate it, what was the flat edge of the frame and the flat edge of the content of the frame, they get out of sync, and you get this blank space right here. It's okay. We have a way to account for this. It's called, no, I just need to go back to filters. It is called go back to the 3D transform and also scale it up so that way those disappear. So if we go to like 110, call it 125. That's, yeah. If we go 125 in both directions, now it has scaled up so big that even though there were blank spaces, now those are outside of the frames of the thing. And just, so you see how we have these big gray stripies that's saying, hey, you have a thing that's overhanging the board. It could be fine. They disappear when you're not looking at it, and like, hey, that looks fine. But I want to fix that at the very end. I want to crop, and instead of saying relative, I want to crop it to 1920 by 1080. Because now when you look at it, it has cropped it to the size of our full screen. Okay, good. I'm still not done. uh, because now this is actually bigger than I want this grid to be. So I'm going to add a different 3D transform. Because like I said, order matters. And for what I want to do, I can't just do it in the existing 3D transform. The very first thing I want to do, but I want to do it to the square before we have stretched it to the bounds of the scroll, is I want to actually make that smaller. So we're going to come in here. I'm going to look at scale. Why is it doing that? Hang on, that's not right. Because I'm transforming it and leaving blank spaces around the original. Right, that does make sense. Okay, hang on. All right, so that's not what I want to do. Okay, so forget that. When we blew it up here, let's not. I actually like the squares at the size that they were. That's part of why I made them that size. So you know what? I could even bring this down a little bit, right? Let's. So I want small squares. I'll give me small squares. And in our scroll, all we have to do now is say like, let's go to like 2K by 2K. Okay, so my cropping is off. Why is my cropping off? Because I'm not cropping from the center. That's why. I never necessarily said that it was easy to do it all in OBS. I just said you can do a lot of stuff in OBS. Okay, so I want the X and Y to be. I want it to be 1920 by 1080. If we're 2K big and 1080, no, 2K minus 1080 means that it'll overhang by 920. Yeah? Yeah. But we want to center it so half of that is of the overhang is at the top, half is at the bottom. So what's half of 920? That's 450 to get to 900, 10 to get to 20. That's 460. So we can do it relative, but we'll just say 460 at the top and 460 at the bottom. Yes? But let's make the width bigger, 25. No, because now I've pushed it sideways. All right, this is where I get extra weird and I break out my. This is where I just break out the calculator, all right? Because we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to do 2500 minus the width of the screen, which is 1920, which leaves us at 580. Half of that is 290. So same thing, crop pad, but we're going to go 290 each side. It's just. That looks about right. That's about what I wanted. We have the diagonally scrolling grid. The only other thing I'm going to change is that scroll is way too fast. Personally, I like very subtle scrolls. Like, actually, yeah, in this case, if we slow it down so the background scroll is actually slower than the clouds, like, you might not even notice that's going. But so now we have this. Now we have a sort of a lot of visual stuff going on, right? We have. So you know what? What if we do make me smaller? We do make this bigger because I like seeing lots of content. I love the content. Then we'll take our clouds bottom and just like we did with the top, we'll just slide these down until we get just that little bit of overlay like we want. Right? Right. And we still see plenty of clouds over here, and they actually make a nice border for our chat box as well. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. All right, what else can we do here? Again, like, I'm already... I'm basic. I would be pretty satisfied with this, if I'm being honest. We got our themes, we got our clouds, we got our whatever. We got our clouds and our grid, and that's kind of all I had in mind. I would maybe... You know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to get rid of cloud. I'm not going to get rid of cloud top yet. I'm going to take clouds bottom. I'm going to rename it to just clouds. Here's why. I want to copy it. This time I'm going to paste a reference. So here's the difference. If I go ahead now and go to like right, let me hide cloud reference. If I come right now and I go to clouds and I say filter, actually I do want these moving faster for whatever reason. Now these are moving faster. The top one, the cloud's top hasn't changed because even though because it was a duplicate, which means it was a separate instance, so they don't care about each other. Right? But this duplicate I just made, or this reference that I just made, because it is a reference, it is just doing whatever the first one did. Instead of having its own settings, it will have the same settings because it is really just the one. So now if I take clouds top and I can take the transform, I can copy the transform. If I apply it to this reference to clouds, transform, paste transform. Now you can see that cloud top, because it's a separate instance, has its old speed, but this new reference has been updated to have the new speed. Why does this matter? I'm going to get rid of top. We're not going to use that. This matters because what I changed was the filter. So basically I want to... Now I can change things once and they're automatically in sync. That's basically why it matters. Yeah, no, I like a really slow moving everything in the background. Again, like subtle, like enough to notice but not enough to distract. That's sort of what we're going for. Okay. So what I want to do here is I want to go back to color correction. I'm going to multiply a color. So right now the color multiply is white. What if I go back towards... I just want to add a bit more of this blue to it. Yeah, there you go. So now using color correction, I can actually tint my clouds. That's part of why I crafted them in black and white, is so that I could do this. Do I actually want it lighter than that? Yeah, just a little bit. Whoops. You very rarely want pure white unless it is just like a spotlight, highlight, reflection kind of thing. Who's talking at me? Okay. Who's talking at me? Okay. Bada boom. What are we talking about? Okay, we did that. We have our grid. See, now I feel like I gotta take this grid and I want to slow that down even more. Right now it's going... Here, let's go to 2. Yeah, now that is... You barely notice it's moving. That's my jam. Okay. Yeah, because now I want to just this again. I'm going to come over here. Let's play with some sliders. Because now, because we have the tint on the clouds, we want the background to be more saturated so that the clouds with their current tinting is still closer to white than something else on the screen. So that way it's a trick of the eye. It's like we don't want it to be white, but we want it to feel white. We want it to be the most relatively white thing on the screen. So if I just come back in here and I mess with our background, if I bring the opacity up, if we bring the gamma up, we get a better look at it. See, if we bring it down, we get a better look at the grid. If we bring it up, we get a better look at the background. So I do want it kind of, I want a better look at the grid, I think. I want a good look at both. I'll leave it like that. I think that's pretty good looking. Now I want to bring the clouds back up. Let's go 6. Let's double their speed. Okay, I like this. We got the chat box. Let's do a frame. Okay, this one we can do more informationally. That sounds so boring. Oh my god. All right, let's look at my main cam. Let's look at the transform. I'm going to reset this. I'm going to unlock it so I can reset it. Okay. Right, we're behind the screen. Hello. Hey, it's me. See, and then you take it just like this, and you can duplicate this screen and maybe balance the clouds, and then you can have your just chatting screen. Well, your just chatting screen would be over here. If you want to be really weird, you can... To give it a negative size, that flips it this way. See, because then I would do it this way, because even though you can never wear text on your shirt again, but when you look this way, you're looking at the chat and having a conversation rather than looking away from the chat, unless you made a chat that's left aligned. But I like the right aligned because there's this thing of like, I don't know, it's almost a line of action kind of thing. Like when we are looking at a game, when we're looking at a video, whatever we're watching in like the main media screen or whatever, we're sort of on the same side of things. We are both the viewers, the audience of this third thing. So I really like to have the chat box and the streamer preview aligned. Like, oh, we're on the same side right now. We are both in this sort of together against compared to this other thing. Whereas it's just chatting screen, because that is like a, that is about the interaction between the two and see them sort of bounce off each other in a good way, interact with each other, whatever. Like there's a sort of like act this way, react this way. Because you want to see the reaction off of each other, you put them on opposite sides and have them face each other. And it's a, yeah, I don't know how much of this is, like, hey, here are some technical things you can do in OBS versus, hey, here's just some thoughts I have about the principles of shot composition. And color theory. We've got some color theory. I really like this background right now. Actually, like, I would maybe take another pass at the clouds and do a better puffy cloud. I would find a reference of very stylized clouds that I liked, and then I would sort of do my own take on that. But generally what we have going on out here, like, and actually I really like this idea of like the grid is this almost like paper screen window kind of thing going on. Xen, okay, you want to be real interesting about it. How do I undo everything I did so we can go back to where we were? Yep, okay, no, that's just fine. Let me finish one freaking thought at a time. It says I have this much of the concoction left. And the concoction is just coffee and milk because, you know what I mean? Finish the thought. So I want to do something different with this one. I like the 1280 by 720. That is what my camera is outputting. This is actual size. I like to give it a bounding box. And we're going to scale to inner bounds. And so what this means is that now when we sort of grab the handles out here and stretch it, it's keeping the same size. It's not going to change the resolution. It's going to like, it's not going to squish it and scrunch it. It is going to just sort of like scale it down to whatever we want the box to fit, which means when we're doing our layout, we just say like, okay, whatever the camera is putting out, I don't want it to go bigger than this. And it's like when we have our right screen, now I take this and I say like, listen, I know this is here. I want this to be over here. And I want to be no taller than like this, right? And then you can kind of leave it here. You can pick alignment in box. So if we just want to throw it to the bottom right, it'll figure it out bottom right all the time, which is about right. But then if you want to go in and do something like we're going to crop this, it brings it back up to whatever you want your cropping at, right? So that's how I do it pretty much all the time. That's why whatever my camera's pointing out, I'll crop it, but then I will make sure it best fits whatever space in the overlay I have set aside. I have a little too much headspace. Not a lot, just a little. But now I have too much. Well, here's the thing. I know my blank space there is fine because I said this is how I can go and be fine. I know this. This is a thing I know. And I can bring it in and whatever. And yeah, that's what you want. Why is there a line there? Something overhanging? Am I not all the way? You know what? It's fine. It's good enough. Frame. Right, looking at all of that, the point was I'm going to look at my main cam. So now we can read either of these that we want. We can say what size is our bounding box, which is the 506 by whatever, or what size are we outputting, 1280 by 720. I'm going to use that. Let's go back to Krita. Make a new. I'm going to make it 1280 by 720. Go. Here's another thing that I know. I'm not going to be using this at actual size. So if I want to, well, you know what? Maybe it's kind of fine. So we know this is going to match our camera, right? Right. Okay, let's start there. So now let's say we want to do something cool. I don't know how to do anything cool. I've never been cool, not even once. What I'm going to say is, all right, let's create a box over here. And that'll be a cutout. And then, actually, I want to put a notch back in over here. And then, whoops. I want to do like I want to make a matching notch on the outside because of course I do. If you put notches in it, that's the first step towards making it technical. Whoops, not saving it yet. I also want to go in and I want to just sort of go that. Whoops. Let's make it that. Let's make it that. And now we add them 3 little circles that you put on machines so that way you know it's a machine. And the triangle is going to be aligned neither horizontally nor vertically. Ah ha 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 ha. I'm evil that way. And just for funsies, let's put the one extra notch down there. Right. Gotta fill that in. Now, I did all that. It's gray. Gray is boring. It's also a cutout. And one nice thing about Krita and modern programs like this are layer styles. So let's do a bevel and emboss. Hard to go wrong. That is way too deep. Let's only go like 3, maybe? Well, let's go more than that. 10. Ooh, 6. I can live with that. Let's do. Oh, we could go down. Ooh, that does look great. Do we want our altitude to go up or down? I think down. No, maybe up. Yeah, because that makes this edge over here pop a little bit more. Before I go back to that, these look a little close. So I'm going to bring this. Whoops. I want to grab this much. I don't want to move it. Let's say like that much, and then I'll fill back in down here. Good. That looks better. Here's our actual size again. Go back to layer style. I want to do a pattern overlay. What patterns we got? Got like canvases, got whatever. Got wood? Or is that rock? Oh, we can do more than that. Let's just go all the way there. Why not? All right, because we're set to multiply. What if we did, I don't know, overlay? Yeah, now we're talking. No, you know what? I take this all back. I'm doing this all wrong. Because we know, like, no, this proves a point. I just like I know how to make a sort of mechanical looking frame way easier than anything else. So this is what we're going with. What do we got? We got dots. We got little stars are nice. What is that? Oh, we're doing that. Oh yeah, we're doing that. Oh, I'd love that. I did not know that was an option. Let's do a gradient overlay. Our gradient overlay is whatever this is. Whoops. Gradient overlay. See, I think this is another one where order matters, but you cannot adjust the order of these. I really wish I could reorganize this list to make the style want to add color to make the style apply in sort of a way of my choosing rather than whatever it can understand to do. That's not nearly enough. How about this nice looking sunset one? That's kind of nice, actually. Okay, actually, if we do that, but then over here, we adjust what our base color is, right? Because we can go... Right, we got to stay kind of middle because we're an overlay, but we can colorize, and like we know what our... Here, let's take this off. We know kind of the color we picked, and it's somewhere over here, so we can stay somewhere over here. Actually, if we're doing that, what if our layer overlay was just real, like, chill? Can we be chill about it? What if I do a multiply now? Multiply will darken it from whatever my base color is, which I think is fine because I'm pretty sure my pattern is lightening it from whatever my base color is. If I go back to this one, what if? Now we go to the pattern. What if we bring that down? Check this out. What if this is good enough? Huh? Huh? Did you think about that? This is gonna be the darkening one then. No, see it like it just kind of does the whole thing. What if we reverse it? That way it's lighter at the top. That makes sense at least. Can we lower the scale a bunch? What if this is overlay? Come on, I need something that looks okay here. Stop making me look bad. You know what? It's subtle. What if we turn this into multiply then? What if I leave both of those alone and I go back and I just really saturate? Yeah, I just really saturate our base color here. Let me tweak it a bit more towards kind of like this more green-ish that we have going on in the clouds. I'll bring it down just until it stops hurting my eyes. Yeah. Because we did it with layer styles, I can go ahead and do that. I can cut a notch off of it, and then that's all I need to do. Because now when we take this off, select this color, and fill it in, now the style adjusts to it. And let's do it over here, because a technical thing like that might need it. And because I cannot help myself, let's cut off another notch. There, I'm going to call that a frame. Make it transparent. Let's go save it as cam frame. Okay. Hi, I'm back. I haven't been gone for you. I've been gone for myself. Don't worry about it. Let's just bring this in. Image. This is cam frame. And it's cam frame. And here we are. And basically what we do is we put the frame where we want it, the size we want it, and the thing that we know, right? And this is if sort of like framed cam lifestyle is what you're into. Frame cam is directly over the main cam, doesn't need to be anywhere else. Let's lock that. Now we basically just want to undo any of the cropping I did here. So that way it is the original resolution that we knew that it was. Put our bounding box just over the cutout. And technically there we're done. If we want to, really fix it, then we do this again until we get our cropping, we fit in the box. Hey, now I live in a frame. Actually, that fits a bit better with the color scheme than I thought it would be. You want to do something real interesting. Okay, check this out. No, that won't work the way I'm thinking of. There's other things we could do in terms of adding like drop shadows to the frame, so that way it feels like it's floating above a little better. So let's do that. Yeah, we're here. Nothing else is going on. Let's just go and do that. So here's what I would do. I would take this. I would resize the canvas, because if we resize the image, it stretches the content. If we resize the canvas, it'll add blank space when necessary. All right, let's look at our pixel count, and let's just add what, 20? Let's add 50 to each side. So on 280, that'll bring us up to 1330. We're going to expand from the center, and what did I say, 50? So from 720, that'll be 770. We do that, and now we have the space around it. Now we can just go back to the layer style, and we can add a drop shadow. And basically, as long as it stays within what we just added, it'll be fine. I think that'll be fine. Now, thing to consider. If we just save this, because this ended shadow is above the camera image, this shadow inside will appear above our camera image, which could be an effect you want, but the fact that it matches below the frame as well means that sort of like intuitively that'll put your camera on the same plane as the background and push it really far back, right? It'll sort of flatten you into that. So here's how I'm going to get around it. Let's turn this off. Let's select this, select inverse. Whoops. Deselect everything outside. Right, so now we just have the selection of the inside where we want the camera to be. New layer. Let's add green. We're going to do it. We're going to learn about keying. Right? So now we have the real ugly looking green effect. But notice this is going to cover up that inner shadow. That's pretty much what we want. Hey, is that the green that I want? Hey, what do you call this green? 250, we want 0, 0 is actually what we want. It's extremely similar. I can barely even tell them apart up here where they're touching each other, but okay, that's fine. I'm going to save this separately as cam frame key, because we're going to have to key out the green. And if we just go ahead and replace it here, it's going to break a little because this is a different size image, remember. But we're going to take this image and we're going to apply a filter. I'm going to apply a color key, and so that 02550 is basically like pure green in digital terms. So key color type green is already perfectly trimmed it out. We do gotta look a little bit though, because you can see here at the edges where it like sort of anti-aliased into the rest. We do gotta turn this up until that goes away. Too far. Here. Yeah, about there. That's good. And hey, look, we're kind of already there, but we got to pull this up. So it'll be there, and it'll be there-ish to put it about back. But now we have this baked-in drop shadow, which is great. I think it helps. Okay. Hey, we have a lot of stuff in here now. Now is a good time to group some stuff. So I want to take both instances of the clouds, the white tiles, and that background image, and we're going to group all of these. I'm just going to call this BG anim, because it's our animated background, right? And as long as we don't touch it, it's fine. It lives there. Oh, I'm sorry. Azure lives in there too, because it is even though we really don't see any of it anymore, it is that initial background key that we put in. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the frame and the camera feed. Let's group those two. This is cam with frame. Because the nice part about that is now if for some reason you do need to move it, now when you go to grab it, you're actually grabbing the group, and so they will stay sort of synced to each other. You can even just throw that in the corner, and because that extra space for the drop shadow is baked in, it goes right to the corner. I like a little extra space in that even. Yeah, like, oh, here, I was gonna say, what else do you need? Here's what else do you need. So we could, put in the, like, what do you call it? Da, 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 da. I could go and I could do more stream element stuff. So the, like, latest event tracker, make sure sub notifications and all of that pop up somewhere. I could do more of that. I don't think I'm going to show it because the only thing I would really show is if we do like the like static names at the bottom, I would just like I just did for the frame, I would create in it. I would figure out like so here's actually what I like to do. I like to create a color source that's just like a spacer, and make it, I don't know. I think pink is easy to see. It's also the polar opposite of green. Don't think about that too much. But what you do is you can come down here and you can hold shift to sort of stretch it, and you can look at this and say, okay, I don't have a camera to base my size off of, but I can say I want it to be about this big and aligned there. And when you go to look at the transform, here you have your size that you just stretched it to. So you know you want something that's about 620 by 135-ish. And then just like we do with the frame, we'll start with that. We'll draw our border. We'll do our cutout or whatever we want to do. Like for this, I would probably do the cutout. Instead of making it green, I would just make it black, because right now I know I have stream elements elements from my other scenes, so they already exist as a link in my stream elements. I would just make it black, and I know they just output white text, and so to account for that, I would either make it black or the very dark blue to sort of stay the dark azure to stay within our sort of color scheme of our whatever we have going on here. And then just like this, you put the frame, you put the stream element over it so that it lined up. You can group them together so that way the positions stay synced. And then you have enough room here. You could do 2, you narrow it, you do 3. Oh, nope, you got to hold the shift in order to stretch it. Because otherwise it keeps the ratio of the initial size, which I believe is full screen. Yeah. So it'll keep the 16 by 9, whatever. Or you could, okay, if you don't want to, okay, we reset it. If we do a stretch to bounds, now it's in a box. Now when you grab the handle, it doesn't care with the original one, because it just says, all right, cool. You can stretch this however you want. Whatever you're going to set it to will stretch the content to fit. And that's, now you use the bounding box size because the size of the source itself isn't changing. Well, it's not even the size of the source itself. It's the size as described by the transformation of the source in the scene. There's the thing in OBS where you have the thing and it can be a size. Nothing really cares what that size is. When you bring it in, it'll be at 1:1. But as soon as you change the size, what you're actually changing is the transform. The transform is a trait of a source in a scene. So that's this interesting thing, right? Because like when I was talking, let's go ahead and duplicate this, and we're going to call this one just chatting. Now we're in just chatting. In just chatting, we don't need the screen. I'm gonna get rid of that. We're not going to need the spacer for the moment. I do want a can with frame. Can with frame is going to be over here and be kind of huge, and so that's why I'm going to do it this way, right? Because I can flip the width there, but by making it negative, I'm actually just flipping it. Yes, I'm flipping it. We knew that's what we were doing. Right. So now I'm over here. And again, the reason we're doing that is because chat box is over here. We look at each other. We make, quote, friendly eyes. I cannot type. We make friendly eyes. Right? But so here's the thing. Because I did it as part of the transform, that makes that change stick to this scene, not the source, the scene. So when we go back here, I'm flipped again because now we're over here, right? Right. The other way to do this, right? Like if we, all right, here's one thing though. I'm going to make positional assignment top center. Because this way, when I do the negative flip, it flips around the center, right? Okay, so now we're back here. I'm facing the wrong way again. The other way to do this, as you may have noticed from all the shenanigans with the grid, is to actually use a filter. We can use a filter, we can do a 3D transform. Is that the one we would want? Yeah, probably. And we could do our X, we could go negative 100 here, right? But now we've done it as a filter. A filter sticks to the source. Like the sources are in this list down here, but really they live kind of like when you create a source in a scene, it doesn't just live in the scene. It kind of lives on a shelf above the work table where all the scenes are, if I can paint a scene here. It's like, okay, we're looking at a scene and we have this collection of scenes and they're all spread out on the table. And the sources don't live in them. The sources live up on this shelf. So every time we pull one down, or like every time we put one in a scene, we're not actually, putting it into scene. We're just sort of we're making a reference to it. So we have like we're making like this weird pin detective wall thing where it's just like, okay, this one, it stays on the shelf, but it's going to appear down here and you tack it there and there it is. So transforms sort of describe when you make the reference to it, the transform says, and you're going to show it this way in this scene. Okay, cool. Filters are applied to the source while it's on the shelf. So because we used a filter to flip this in this scene, when we go back, we're flipped over here too, because it's the same source. Okay? I don't know. Without feedback about how that's confusing, I don't think I can explain it any more clearly. Because now when we look at, our cam with frame and we hit our filter, that 3D transform is still here even though this is a separate scene. And if we take it away here, then when we go back to just chatting, it's flipped again here. But if we do this as a, I'm hitting Control E, I'm hitting transform. Actually, you know what I could probably do? If I go to this scene, and I just want to, right. I can just copy this, go to just chatting. I'm going to paste a reference here. I kind of like to do this. I like to just kind of like flip these on just chatting, so that way if we were talking about something, it's still there for context. But yeah, now, so when I click on the thing, if I hit Control E, or you can right click on it and say transform, edit transform. If I flip it in the transform, then it is saying, hey, this scene is going to show this source in this way. We're not actually altering the source in any way, so it leaves it alone in all the other scenes. All right, this is like a very specific thing about OBS that doesn't necessarily have to do with, I mean, it does have to do with building overlays, but in the general sense of how does OBS keep track of things, and you need to know that to make them work. I think this looks really good too. Is this kind of like laughing at your own joke? Is it bad if I'm kind of enamored with the layout I made just for the demo? Let's go back here. We see everything that's going on. We're going to get rid of spacer here. Okay, one thing I do want to show, and this is, I think this is going to be kind of an advanced move, but I want to try it anyway, is I want to add a bouncing logo. And I have two ways to do it. One which works before a fashion, which if you don't know what that means, don't worry. I don't necessarily know what that means either. That's why I use it. I only vaguely understand what that means. But first thing, if we're going to do that, we need a logo. Let's go back to Krita real quick. How big is a logo? Okay, I just got rid of my... See, and because I took the spacer out of both scenes, once it's not in a scene, it's taken off the shelf. So now I actually have to recreate my spacer. See, it only Azure is there. So let's go back to spacer. So there's actually like a weird sort of logic to there's a weird sort of logic to like having an extra scene that just like, if you want to keep some extra like tools around, like the spacer or the whatever, instead of just leaving it in every scene and hiding it there, you can build an extra scene that you just never switch to, but always has a copy of that stuff in it. So that way, when you go to your add source, add existing, because it's at least in that one source all the way hidden in the back, it'll be in the add existing list and you can just grab it from there. What did I want to look at? Okay, I want to grab a logo. All right, no, I want to make a logo. I want a logo to be about this big. And how big is that? That is, let's call it 380 by 225. All right. And we know what to do next. Here, new 380 by 225. Those are the numbers I said, right? I already don't remember. Logo. I will admit, Krita is not my favorite program for doing typesetting, but it'll work. It'll work for now. Honestly, I'm a weirdo. I used enough InDesign at my last job that now InDesign has kind of been my bait. Like InDesign is kind of meant for like typesetting, but in terms of like articles and like setting type onto pages, not necessarily like just logos design. I would probably still do that in Photoshop because there are little intricacies that I think this program also has, but I'm familiar with how they're implemented in Photoshop. I don't know like the specific buttons or checkboxes in Krita to get the same effects. How do we type? We type here. We type here, and we have to draw a box. And then we're going to say cute logo. Save it, and that updates it. Okay, what font do we want? I've got a lot of fonts. Ooh. Could do Comic Sans just for the demo of it, just to be... Nah, it's too thin. If we had bold Comic Sans, it's no different. Ah! I gotta sneeze. I gotta sneeze again. F-Zero, no, hard cut. Hobo, maybe? Impact's not round enough. See, I kind of like Boley, but again, I want, like, thick it up. Like if this is handwritten, I want it handwritten with one of those, like, paint markers when you're, you know, writing congratulations class of 1982 on the back of your mom's SUV or whatever. SUVs weren't really a thing in the 80s, were there? That was big station wagon and minivan days. Oh, and then a SUV is kind of like right in between. It's the Sid Meier's Spore hybrid. It was not Sid Meier's Spore. Whose Spore was it? It was Maxis. It was that guy. Will Wright. It's the SUV is the Will Wright Spore hybrid of the station wagon and the van. Thank you. The minivan. Ugh. I would be curious about Sid Meier's Spore. End of thought. Moving on. I got my nice fonts, but see, like, I want something kind of like Nice Terra over here, but I want it rounder. I ain't gonna get rounder. I'm gonna keep this. Let's blow this up a little bit. Okay, can I just, for the sake of knowing how to work with it, here's what I can do. I can make a new raster layer below it. I can group them together, and then I can flatten the group, thus rasterizing that vector layer, and now I'm just working with pixels, and that I know how to do. And why is it so green? Okay, why does this matter? Okay, what do we do? I need, like, Alright, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna take a quick, like, snap screenshot of this. That's the calculator and a rooftop. Critta. I'm gonna paste it here, because now this gives us basically some colors to pull from, because I want this logo to be, basically want this logo to match the clouds to begin with. So I'm going to lock the transparency and just take a big old brush and, yeah, paint over it. Oh, wow, that is light. That's fine. So I want to take this, I want to add a layer style. I want to add a stroke to the outside, and I want the color to be I'll worry about that in a second. But basically what I want to do is I want to create a stroke that is at least big enough to be like an all encompass. I want them to touch. There we go. So now that's a gutter. We're going to go 100% opacity. And can I... Not new layer from visible, not merge, not duplicate. Convert. See, because like in Photoshop, there's a button to take the styles and turn them into layers, and then your layers are being applied as, or basically just your style becomes a set of raster layers that you can mess with however you want to. Because really, what I want to do is I want to apply a stroke to this stroke, and then I want to bevel and emboss that stroke, along with the text here. So what I can do, and then if I select this, it selects the pixels actually on the layer, not the. Okay, so I'm going to do the same trick again. I'm going to duplicate this layer. I'm going to add a blank layer. I'm going to merge this with the blank one. This now makes all of this one. But that means now the effect layer is also real layer. So when I select visible, I will be selecting that. I can bring this back. We can turn that off. I can actually create a layer under it. And let's do it like this. Okay, that is getting to where I want. What I actually want to do is I want to look at what color did I use here. Just did something, didn't I? So if I do that, that is not dark enough for the logo. So again, like I was saying before, the clouds, I want to have that very compressed contrast, so it's low contrast, so that way it is just enough to notice, but it is apparent but not distracting. This is a logo. This is like a set piece. I want this to draw the eye. So this one I'm going to get away from the palette that I have it and sort of juice it up a little, you know? So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to take this and let's adjust it. I want to go deeper and darker and darker and actually maybe less that. Yeah, I don't want it to go like grayscale dark, but I want it to be so dark that it feels like a black and white pop out kind of thing. Okay, now, thing I said before, I want to stroke this layer. I'm going to work on a duplicate because I think that's how it's going to end up turning out. Now let's layer style this stroke. Way too big. Settle down, Junior. I'm going to turn that all the way up. And actually, I want this color. I don't know what I want it to be, but I know I want it to be way more in this range than away from it. I want it to be like flipping back to the letter color, which makes it hard to see, but that's really close anyway. Let's just go to 5. That might be what I want. Okay? Okay. Right. So right now we're working on this duplicate. I think what I want to do is I want to take this color. I think I want to fill all this in. I think that's what I want. Well, we're going to do that anyway, because now we're going to do the same trick. We're going to flatten it to rasterize it. Oh, so can I? So, all right, so that's another thing that Photoshop has. I don't know how to equate in here. Because if you turn the opacity down, it turns down the pixels on the layer, and it also turns down the effects on the layer. Photoshop has something called fill, and what fill does is it lowers the opacity of the pixels on the layer, but leaves the opacity of any styles applied to that layer. So that is a weird way that you can like add a stroke, take away the thing you stroked, and just have that like expanded version. Which is exactly what I would love to have here. Don't necessarily know how to do that. Okay, wait. this is, I want to duplicate it again. No, wait, that's already my duplicate. Right? Yeah, because I'm going to duplicate it again just to be sure. I'm going to merge this one down. I'm going to select this and take that out of this, right? So now we are just left with this outside rim. And the letters and the gutter fill and the gutter fill. I duplicate this. No, that's just what it is. Okay. Great. This is basically what I want. This is basically what I want. Thing I do want to do. All right. So first of all, this is what I want. I'm gonna put all this in here. I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna add layer style to this. Nope. I need to make up my mind. Okay. I'm gonna duplicate the outer, and I'm gonna duplicate the letters themselves. All right. I'm gonna merge them together. So now we have just the gutter. We just have the low value and the high value on 2 layers. Great. That's because everything of the higher value, I do want to add a layer style, and we're going to bevel and emboss that. So that way the letters match the outer rim. Very similar to what's going on here, but different. This is, yeah, it's only going to be like, what, 3 pixels? Because the thing itself is super... I could do just 1. I'm going to turn that all the way up, but it's not going to be black. It's going to be a really dark saturated blue. Better. And the white, it's not really a white. I'm not going to use global light because global light would... No, it's fine to use global light. The last time we did this was in a different file, so global light is only within the file. There, that looks pretty good, I think. Would like to make sure all of this is centered. I don't know if there's a way to do that. Show coordinates on canvas. No, that won't quite do it the way I want it. Take the whole group, add a layer style. We're going to add a drop shadow. Because just like I was saying with the frame, the drop shadow helps it, you know, set itself in front of the whatever your background is. Okay? This. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Doesn't need to be center. I'm going to crop to it anyway. And the last thing I want to do, because I think this I think this makes sense, is I'm going to take just the G, and I'm going to apply a color to it. Not like that. Okay, I'm just going to take the G and I'm just going to sort of set it apart. Because it's an accent letter. Right? That makes the logo pop. The other thing I could do is... okay, so I don't actually need this, which means I don't actually need this. It was fine the way it was. I want to go back to the layer style here. Oh, maybe I want to do it down here. Maybe that's what I want to do. Layer style. There, disabled at the moment. Okay, let's take out the stroke. We don't need that anymore because now it's baked in on the other layer. I want to add a pattern overlay to the gutter. Just to... And actually, you know what? I could just add hexes. I could add hexes. Shrink them down a little bit, get them a little denser. Did that shrink? Am I blind? Or is it a very large image and it takes a very long time to process to shrink? I'm gonna say it's that. Stop. Let's see if I do like a screen. Interesting. No, I want to do overlay. Oh, the stars. We have a star pattern in here. I didn't know that. Oh gosh. Why is the scale not? Oh wait, it went. Wait, set size of gradation. That's a different thing. No, I want to keep in what we were doing. I want to use the abstract lines. I want to make it very... Oh, maybe I do want it on the multiply, right? So I'm going to have a very low opacity anyway, because it's just going to like fill in and add some texture to it. Not quite that much. Actually, yeah, about 50% opacity. I like that. Okay, okay. Now take this group, duplicate it. Tell me if this trick sounds familiar. Flatten the group. Now that the group is flattened, that shadow is real pixels. And we can take the whole thing and we can... Where is it? It's called trim to selection. It's called trim, not crop here. There's a cropping tool. The cropping tool performs a trim action. Okay. So now we have our cute logo. Set it over transparent. And let's save it to our lovely demo here. This is called cute logo.png. Okay. Back to OBS. Hello, welcome back. I'm going to hide the spacer. I don't necessarily want to get rid of it. I do want to bring in an image called the, let's call it logo. And hey, exciting news, it's going to be the cute logo. Okay, so it's here, now it's here. Because I'm really happy with how that turned out. I usually don't do logo design, but I like this style very much. There's a couple of things I would mess with, but I'll do that in my own time. This is very close to something I like very much. I am trying to recreate something I saw from memory once, but for not remembering what or where or even what it was, I'm happy with that. Okay. We want to make it dance. Okay. Here's a trick I learned. Let's do this the first way. I'm gonna add filters. What filters are we gonna add? Okay, you're gonna love this. We're gonna add scroll, and we're gonna add scroll, and we're gonna have displacement mapping. Displacement mapping is weird. So displacement mapping is you take a black and white image, like yeah, no, this is the wide boy, is it what we want? No, we want displacement. No, yeah, this'll work an example. So this is one, it's basically just a gradient I made that goes from gray to black to gray in the middle to white to gray on the other edge, right? And it's like, oh, it didn't do anything. Okay, but check this out. Wait, we do this one. Oh no, it's too much. But so okay, basically what it's doing is this is a filter that turns lightness value into pixel offset. So again, like I said, it goes from, so everywhere I put it gray in the initial picture, so at the very top, the very middle, and the very bottom, it pretty much leaves alone because it says, oh, you're at 0, okay, when, 0 times 12 is still 0, so it stays the same. Imagine like exact middle gray is 0, white is 1, black is -1, right? We're looking at something like that. So that's why when the part that is white gets pushed one way, the part that's black gets pushed the other way as the scale goes up. And as we push the scale negative, it again, the white and the black still go opposite to each other, but they go opposite the way that they went when we push the scale into the positive, right? Okay. So that's how we can sort of manipulate an image using another image mask. Okay. That's why I created a very special boy who's around here somewhere. I believe it is displacement wide boy neutral. So this goes white on either end to gray in the middle. And yes, so you see what you get here. We're just going to kind of flutter the edges up and down. Okay, here's where it gets weird. Do you remember the 2 scrolls we just added? You do? Great. So, like I said, very important. The order in the list matters, or because they are applied in order. So we want to put the displacement mapping in the middle. Now we are going to horizontal speed this way. Not even that much. Let's call it 15. 15 looks all right. So what we have is first it scrolls, then it's displaced, then the other scroll which isn't doing anything. What if the other scroll did something? So I just feel very smart that I figured this out on my own is what it is. We're going to take the second scroll after the displacement and we're going to scroll it backwards. So you have the image is going this way and then the image is going this way. And because they're the same, they cancel out. But because the second one also has the displacement and it's only affected by one of the scrolls, now the image is staying in the same place, but the displacement is scrolling, is what we're looking at here. And I am a pretty big fan of this because I feel that it gives it like this, almost like a waving flag feeling. I've used this effect only in one, because I'm not sure why, but there is something in how the math works out that the scroll isn't actually canceled out. I don't know if it's because of something really weird and technical like floating point numbers. I don't know if it's because when you set the speed of the scroll, it's actually rounding and they're not actually set exactly the same. I don't know. But here, so what we do is if we hide it, that unloads it, and then loading it is supposed to reset it. I forget how I do it. If we go here, it unloads it. No, wait. If I do properties, unload image when not showing. Maybe that's what we want. So that'll unload it from memory. This will load it and do it straight. Okay, maybe that is just what it looked like in neutral. Okay. So things we gotta do now. Let's play with our filters. So you see how when it goes off the top, it comes in at the bottom? Okay, that's because we have loop on. No, we do want to loop? What happens if we don't loop either? What if we only don't loop the second one? Okay, we gotta loop them both. So this is when I like to, before the displacement mapping, I want to pad it. Because if we can add to the top, we can push it down so it stops going off. And if we, well, now that it stops going off, it just stopped like looping, right? But we can also cut down from here a little bit. And if we can kind of crop this left and right until it, oh, nope, you gotta be over here-ish. We can also go to displacement mapping and just like, well, actually, if we go to like 0 here, right? You can already see that like the scroll is off a little bit because they've gotten out of sync in a really weird way. I think it's cool. It's a little frustrating, but I do think it's cool because this is like a very particular edge case, and we are like seeing through the cracks of just like, oh, if you do this one really weird specific thing, there's this little thing that goes wrong, but that can only go wrong if this very small specific thing. And I love to see it. I love to see it is a thing. All right. Brought down the top left. Do we want to? Is it because? Whoa. Okay. I'm gonna set these back to 0. Okay, it's because of the cropping that's breaking. Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. All right, so we leave them alone. That looks solid, right? And now displacement mapping, we want to we want just a little. I want just enough for the effect. I want just enough for the effect, right? We don't want to bend it out of place. Just want just enough for the effect. Actually, we probably want it to go up because that's the... Looks better going down though, doesn't it? No, I did it wrong. What does it say? Minus 56? Let's put that on the bottom instead. Minus 56. Hey! Probably don't even need that much. Minus 20 is still probably solid. Okay. Let's check this again. We want it. See, I feel like to change the way this looks, I would have to like go in and change the image I've made and like change the way that gradient is shaped, the curve of that gradient. That's a little above my pay grade. Right? Okay, let's get it to reset. Hey, all right, that almost works. But you get the idea of it now, right? That it's like, okay, what we're doing here is we are taking this static image and we are using tricks of filters and displacement and scrolling to just add motion to it. That's cool. I've got a different idea I want to try for the very first time right here, live on stream tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and otherwise. I really do like the way that logo came out. That's weird. It just says cute logo, but I love it. I want to do it a weird way. Okay, this is going to get worse before it gets better. How do I open? Okay, I want to create a new. I want to move to other view. Nope, not like that. Can I pull this out here? I can't. So let's just use Notepad. Like regular Notepad. Like Notepad ass Notepad. Windows cannot find note. No, well, it helps if I say pad and not notepod. Here we go. Okay, welcome to Notepad. Welcome to my friend. We're going to build a very, very quick web page here. Here's what I know about web pages. I spelled it wrong on the third character. I'm going to open HTML. We don't need a head, but we do need a body. I'm going to add a... Body will be the body. We'll go immediately into an image. Source of the image is going to be cute logo.png or whatever the heck I called it. I do not recall. Where are these things living? They're living in a weird place today. In all honesty, I believe I am going to use some of what I've built tonight in the future. Like I kind of really like this whole cloud idea. Like I said, it was a I had a note of it because it was something I thought up, and I was like, you know, I think that would look nice. Maybe trying to build that will be the fresh thing to do. Yes, it is called cutelogo.png. It lives here, same place where the web page is, relative. The rest it'll sort out. We'll close that tag. We'll close the body like a surgeon for the very first time. And then we'll close the HTML. And that's a web page, baby. Hell yeah! That is a web page with a single item on it. I do want to add an ID here because this is going to be the logo. That's a web page. That's all we need. That's all we need. I'm going to save this. Where am I going to save this to? Where everything else is living. Where is that? For some reason, it's in my emails folder. And this is going to be cute logo bounce .html. Right? Okay. Whew. Okay, we're going to let this... Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to leave this up over here because I do want to just let it run and, you know, maybe we can keep an eye on how long it takes to get out of sync with itself, right? Okay. Here's what we're going to do, though. We're going to call this... It's going to be a browser source. I'm going to call it... I'm going to call it... fancy logo, because this is the fancy version. Okay. Yeah, let's start with just 800 by 600. And the thing that I forgot to do, which is number one thing, is we're going to point out a local file. That local file will be that file that we just created. Emotes that cute logo bounce.html. We open it and we hit OK, and why is it blank? Okay, let me check. Okay, good. When I check it in Firefox, it's also broken. Let me run the thing. It says IMG, says source. I have far too many quotes in there. Uh-oh. What? Source equals. Hey, refresh that real quick. There we go. Okay, I got it. This is pod racing. Okay, so we have our cute logo, and what we have is a web page displaying our cute logo. Why would I do something so needlessly complex? Is it needless? Probably, but it's the way we're doing it right now. Because the way that I'm going to animate it, rather than using multiple filters or whatever, I'm going to animate it using CSS. Because as soon as you run, as soon as you have a web page, or once you have a browser source, everything available to you in web is now available to you in OBS. And let me tell you, the W3 Schools has a great tutorial, and it is like the de facto reference document for CSS, and you can do a lot with CSS. You can do a lot with animating in CSS, and that's what I'm going to try to use here. Let's see if I can remember how to do any of this. Okay, so the thing is, we're looking at this and like, yeah, okay, that's what it is. But now we have this custom CSS. The body does this, that's fine. We want to create some CSS for. It is an ID of logo. This is what the script's gonna be. I'm immediately gonna bring up w3schools.com CSS reference. Okay. But let me throw this tab as a new window, and because this way when I'm working on this, I want you to be able to stick with me. And yes, just like that. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna be over here. Actually, okay, so what happens when I do this now? Right, okay, that's fine. I'm gonna be over here. This is what I've got going on this other screen as we are looking at, nope, not you. Cute logo, properties, custom CSS. Okay, now you should be able to see both. Now you can see both things I'm working on. Okay, hey, I am a fan of the 2-monitor lifestyle. For a while, I was part of the 3-monitor lifestyle. I once, very shortly, was in the quad 4-monitor lifestyle. It did not last very long. I could not think of what to put on the 4th monitor. Plus, it put too much strain on my desk, and I was afraid it was all going to collapse one night while I was sitting here or not. Now I'm down to 2. I'm definitely thinking of adding a 3rd on a separate computer, or just to play my Wii U on, even though the tablet has a built-in screen. But I'm getting older. I can't see. I got these tiny eyes, so I need a big picture. Anyway. Okay, CSS reference. We want... We need an extra div in here. No, we just need to modify body. Okay, body. I don't know if I can modify body this way. Okay, so body is all of that OBS defaults in. So OBS adds custom default to basically just make sure that like there's no border around it, that the edge of the web page will always touch the edge of the source in your scene. It tries. But I also want the body to display block width 100%, height 100%, right? Just so it's like, okay, so now the body is not going to just sort of collapse to the size of its content. The body is going to be this thing that fills up everything. Why am I going to do that? Because now I can say logo. I believe an image tag displays block anyway, but I'm just going to enforce it. I do margin auto. I think this is like the old way of centering stuff, but I think that'll center it. Refresh current page. No. I hit OK. Yes, okay, so that is now centered up here. Good, that's a good start. That means my body tag is definitely the width of the source. And when I told the image to auto adjust the margin so it sits in the middle, it has centered itself. Good, this is all good. This means that it's working. Back here, back into the mines. I want to say... I don't want to say. I want to bang on the drums all day. Okay. How do I define... We're going to work with animations. Just show me everything about animation. Animation name, yada yada. Shorthand property for all of this. But somewhere says shorthand for the animation name, which keyframes. Okay, here we go. Keyframes. Okay. So really what we want is down here, we want to define an animation. So we want keyframes for bounce. I am not spelling anything right. What are we going to define in here? Okay. So from and to, basically you define a keyframe as like percentage through the animation, because the actual Not like not the direct timing, because you set that when you call the animation. It's like you set the keyframes and you set them at percentages, because then because then later you say, and when you play this set of keyframes, I want you to make it take 6 seconds, 12 seconds, whatever. And then that is how it is. From that, now it has like the total length of the animation that you asked it for, and it has the percentage length through of when it should hit these keyframes, and it figures out the rest of the operations based on those. But part of my issue here is I want to make a loop. So we want to end where we start. So my from and to are going to be the same. So I'm going to start by just defining a from, and this will define our beginning. I want the top. So, okay, also that means logo our position has to be absolute, which is how we can just say, hey, up here, this many pixels in, not relative to anything else. You basically now are free from the constraints of everything else on the page. You're going to stand where I tell you to stand. It might actually break margin auto. You know what? I ain't worried about it. No, that'll still work, because when position is absolute and you don't define a position, I think it defaults to 0, 0, which in this case is where it would be anyway. So it's not actually going to look different. And it does do weird things that, like, even though it is free of the bounds of the rest of the stuff, it is still the child of the body element. So when you say margin auto, it's like, hey, space yourself evenly according to the width of the thing that you live in, which is the body tag. Even though you are freed from it, it still uses that for the math on it. I think I have that right. Again, we're trying to define it. So, okay, I want top to be 0. No, I want top to be like 10% down. And I also want to have, okay, what is the one for this? Yeah, 0 to 100% from to same. Okay. Okay, we're done with keyframe for now. So I'm looking for something about CSS transform. Transform. Here we go. This is how we apply transformations. I want to apply transform, rotate angle, rotate 3D, rotate. Okay, so you can just really flip things however you want to. I want to rotate flip like this. So I want to add a. God, how do I. Okay, so it is going to be, I want a transform. No, I wrote that one right. Transform is going to be a rotate of, what's a good amount? Minus 15 degrees, right? So it'll be tilted this way, hopefully. Depending on how it handles angles, I don't care right now. And we know 0 is flat, so it'll be either 15 this way or 15 this way. Either way, who cares? It's a good start. That's the from that we want. Okay. Next thing we know is we also want that to be our 2. Right? So we'll end there. So because the start and the end are the same, when we loop it, it should loop smoothly. Okay. I want at 50%, so when we're halfway through, right? This way. You know what? I need to kind of read it this way. Doesn't matter how you format. Well, as long as you're working in a language that doesn't care about white space, generally speaking, it doesn't matter how you format it. What matters is that you format your code in a way that you can parse easily, right? So we want to go from like top 10 to top. We want it to bounce. We want it to drop. Let's just call it like top 50. That's bouncing like 40% of the thing. And we're not actually going to mess with the rotation here because the rotation. I don't know if we have to deal with these in order, so I think I can go now. Oh no, wait, you're right. I do want this here. Oh, shoot. I don't know what numbers are. No, no way, this works out. Because I wanted to, I think I wanted at 20%, right? We'll have transform, rotate, but at positive 15 degrees? Because then it goes from this, and then it goes to this. And then, but this one, this one has to be at an odd number of they're all at an odd number of keyframes. We have 3 for the up, down, up. That's 3. And now we have left. We're going to need left, right, left. But I want to double that. So it needs to be left, right, left, right, left. That's 5 frames. So 100 divided by 5 is 20. So yes, 20, 40, 60, 80, and 2. Which also means that now we basically know the alternate ones. Right? 40, 60, 80. 2 is 100. From is 0. Right? No, I'm wrong. Hang on. Positive. And then that goes negative, positive again. But then it goes, right, we have 0, we're including 0, so it's okay. So that is going to make this 25, 50, which means I can actually throw it up with the other one. This one's going to be 75, and then 100 is that. So I'm going to take this and throw it in with this, and I lost a semicolon. I'm going to lose that. And at this point, I can read this well enough, so let's just throw these in here, Right? So, if I've done that right, that animation is now drop and come up and bounce back and forth twice while you're doing so. Cool. I don't know if that'll look good, but I think it will do that. All right, so now we have logo, and logo, now we want to say, hey, this has the animation. Let's go back to animation shorthand. It's going to be animation is bounce. I want it to take, let's make it take like 6 seconds right now. And infinite, I imagine, means loop infinitely. Run it an infinite amount of times. So let me just double check. Iteration count. Infinite, yes. Played for to be played infinite times forever. Let's see if that worked. So we have the logo. We have the body that fills the thing. We have the logo. which now sits in it, and the logo plays this animation. The animation is defined here. Fingers crossed. It does nothing. Why does it do nothing? Tell me. What if I don't want the animation? None zero ease. Wait. Name, timing function, delay, iteration, counteraction. Okay, wait. Did I format the animation call wrong? I want. See, now I don't necessarily want the reference. Now I want the like tutorial, because the tutorial is more likely to tell me stuff like here animations. Yes, I wanted to do basically exactly that. Yes, yeah. Look at that. Look at that. This is why we're doing this crazy thing. Keyframes from 2. All right. Yep. Bind the animation to an element. 4 seconds. It will gradually change color. Yeah. Animation duration is not specified, but we used a shorthand and we said 12 seconds in there. I think I did that right. Did I format all of these correctly? Rotate -15. So I think even if I like got these wrong, I don't want to do that math. What's halfway between 10 and 50? Normally it'd be 25, but it's a fifth less. Delay in animation. How many times should run? First direction, speed curve, yeah. Fill mode, which is kind of interesting because it's like after the animation's done playing, where do you leave it? But we're looping, so it shouldn't matter. Okay, let me try the better one. Bounce. Want it to take 6 seconds. We'll say linear, 0 seconds, infinite. Let's talk about animation direction. I wanted to loop, so where was direction? Normal. Let's just run normal. Does that make a difference? No, still not animating. All right, why would it not be animating? Because I would think keyframes, bounce, animation is tied to... that is the wrong one. If that was it, that was it. Whoa! Oh! Well, it's animating. Wrong, but it's animating. I bet it's because I don't have each one specified in each one. That's okay. We can start working with this. Oh wait, I also broke that because I didn't close those. Let's see if that helps anything. Now we're talking. Here's the thing. That is about right. I believe that is what I described. Is it what I wanted? No. Well, now we can start tweaking things. And now, see, this is where about maybe where I leave it. I don't want to go with that. Let's just go 30. Oh, I don't want linear. I want ease. I definitely want ease. $30 might still be too much. What if we just went from like... Also, do I want margin auto over here too? Is that a thing that I want? If I put it that is... No, because there's another... Show me... All right, take me back to the animation property reference. I want specifically timing function. I want equal value, slow start, then fast before ending slowly. Both a slow start and a slow end. Let's try ease in out. That's different. See, and this is... I have to admit, I am being kind of silly now because theoretically, this is the kind of stuff that you would be messing with if you... Yeah, look at this. That's about what I wanted. Which actually, at this point, even 15 degrees might be too much. Let's lower those numbers a bunch. Okay. What about just 5? Go 5 degrees back and forth. And we start at 10. Let's just go 20. Let's just go 10%. So, okay. Here's another thing. I don't have my centering in the thing working right. I don't really need it to work right because it's here, it's in a corner, and thankfully it's transparent, so I can kind of just look where it settles down to and then crop it. And what we have now is pain in the butt as it was because I did have to go learn well, okay, for me it was refresh myself on CSS. For you out there, it might be learn. I had to go learn CSS a bit. Why does that look wrong? Because I wanted to be like up, tilt right, down, tilt right, up, tilt right, down, tilt right. So I guess it would start on like down to left and then down to right. Yeah. Okay, so I can fix that. But the point is, look at it now. We got a thing. Yeah. I'm excited. Are you excited? Here, again, if I bring us up, let me just create a new one so we have a white screen. But like, again, I can't see it at the moment, but like if you're okay, well actually now that we've looked at the CSS, now that we've pretty much figured that out, we can get rid of that. And oh wow, our cute Flappy Flag logo is actually held up. I'm surprised. Normally Normally it's like boiling water. You look away, and then when you remember to look back, it's already messed up, and you're like, I have no idea when that happened. But no, okay, that one's still there. But okay, if we get rid of that logo, and then don't forget about the chat box up here. Um, and if I switch to Krita, like, okay, here we go. What do you think? To me, this is like far fancier than a single like flat image. We didn't have to touch After Effects. I think the way I've gone through it, hopefully, at least the specific things I did, it makes sense how they did them. If you really understood them, congratulations. I bet you are seeing how to piece these into getting other effects. Especially like right. So this is what I was gonna say. Like once we are coding keyframes for CSS animations, honestly, that's really close to what you would do in After Effects. Because like, but the difference is in After Effects, you have sort of the visual editor for the keyframes, for the position in the frame, for the whatever. Like yeah, doing all your lining up and whatever, you would be doing that visually. You'd be doing it dragging. That one makes it very easy to like duplicate and offset timings in a way that basically you can't do. As far as I know, you can't do it in CSS. Well, okay. Here's me. I'm not gonna say I'm being a jerk, but let's. I don't want to click that. Show me fancy logo. Okay, if we copy. No, no, we can only paste a reference to fancy logo, so we don't want to do it this way. Some sources you can't make duplicates, you can only have references. I'll be honest, I haven't put together what makes the difference. Browser sources you can't duplicate. You can only have one reference to it um, in a scene. But check this out. If you go ahead and install, I believe it's just called StreamFX. It is a free plugin for OBS that is on the OBS website, forums, repository, whatever it is. I really suggest it. It's got cool stuff in there. I've tried to not use it, but this is actually a case where I find it super useful. You can create something called a source mirror. A source mirror is a logo dupe. A source mirror basically says, hey, I want a source, but I just want you to duplicate something else, like some other source that I have, or an entire scene, which is interesting. So like I can do this, and now I have this source, which is just the entirety of the just chatting screen scene, and I can just have this over here. Oh, interesting. You notice how it has the full of the top cloud, so it doesn't, unless you crop it, it doesn't trim the overlap. Oh, that's really interesting. I wonder if that's intended behavior or if I'm the first idiot to try something stupid like this and even notice that that is the behavior. So you could do it for whole scenes. I find it really useful in situations like this where we just want to use it to, this is how we're going to create our sort of second instance of our fancy logo. Because now you look at it and it's like, oh yeah, we just have another one. But because now this is a separate instance, that means we can apply filters to it. So if we wanted to, we can add render delay. Why would we want render delay? I don't know. Let's add like okay, the thing is only 12 seconds long. So half of that would be like a 6 seconds, but it's in milliseconds, so it's 6,000. How high can I go? do 200. I can do 200. I do 500. I can do 500. Can I do? Can't do 800. 7, 6. I can do 500. Okay, so that's half a second. Duplicate. That's a second. Duplicate. That's a second and a half. Duplicate. That's 2 seconds. What have I managed to do here? Well, I've managed to create a second instance that is delayed by 2 seconds. So now if I want to have them like dancing in opposite corners slightly askew from each other, we have that. We've done that now. And I was able to do that because even though they are running on the same, I've now offset the sync by giving one a render delay. I was able to do that with filters, and I was able to create a separate instance of it using media source. That way I am able to apply filters just to the second instance, leaving the original one on the original sync. Stop me if I'm going too fast. Actually, so here's the weird thing about it. So I can take the logo dupe and I can paste a reference to that, right? Now I can create this like little like weird like starburst effect going on. Oh, that's interesting. You can paste a duplicate of a scene mirror, which means that now I can offset this by another second. So now I have this just like this little cloud of multiple differently offset a logo and little logettes. That doesn't sound right. And so like, okay, if I wanted to do, let's say, a twinkling star field effect, I would do it this way. I would have my CSS be the image of like the starburst shape, and then I would say, okay, we're going to go from this, and then we're going to shrink it down to almost nothing, and then we're going to come back up to full size, whatever. That would be your animation loop. Then you have your one browser source for the animation loop. Then we can, what do you call it? Then we can source mirror that and create duplicates of the source mirror, and then we can offset all of those, and then we spread them around the whole screen or just at the top or wherever you want these twinkling stars. And so you could do them individually, or I could even see like if you put like a cluster of them in the page, because you could have like when you write your page, you can have star 1, star 2, star 3. You can give them all the same animation. You could give them different animations and offset their animation length there, so that way they naturally go in and out of sync and it feels a little more natural. And then you can make the scene dupes of the clusters, and then you're not placing them individually. And you can kind of combine some of these ideas and implement them in different ways to get whatever result you're looking for. That's one thing that I like to say, is that the trick about computers is that you can kind of we created them, we made them open, we can kind of make them do whatever. The real question is, the real question with something like this is start at what do you want them to do, and then we just figure out how to make that happen. Don't don't worry about asking questions. Well, what can I make it do? It's like, what do you want it to do? Which I know, I get it. I get the blank canvas possibility paralysis too. I know that's like silly, but like that's why sometimes like when I think about it, it's like, so that's why sitting down here tonight, I knew like start with a doodle, and my doodle was just like, the only thing I really knew was just like, okay, I want the scrolling clouds. And then I was looking at somebody else's layout, and I was like, I want the scrolling clouds, and I want the grid in the background over a picture. And look at when we got to those not that long ago, and it's we got that, and then we're adding all these other pieces, and we're just rolling along. And I'm actually really happy with the way that this logo is bouncing. I'm gonna clean up that code and use it elsewhere. I'll be honest. I, okay, let's do it. We're here. It's the only thing left that I can think of is what I was saying about, especially now because we have the logo. So actually, I want the spacer. Let me grab and move the spacer. So actually, the thing that I want is we have this much space for we have this much space. It's like I can almost touch it. I love that. It's like I'm on Nick Arcade or something cool. We have this much space for event trackers, I guess. Let's just do it. Let's just do it. Let's see. So like I said, I have, okay, I'm going to close this window. Then I'm going to look in, I need to bring stream elements back up. Go to dashboard. Because like I said, I already have one built. Kind of. I narrowed my window and it hid the menu and I had no idea what I was looking for. Okay, my overlays, I have, okay, which is the one that I use? Is this SciPop Alt? Let's take a peek. Yeah, let's use this. Let's get the link. All right, browser. We want SE panels. And we're gonna dump this in here, and I hate this, but it's gonna be 1920 by 1080, and there we go. So what I'm actually gonna do is, even though we have that, I'm gonna crop the heck out of it, and I'm just gonna use the one. That's all we want. So okay. This is you know, our event info provided by Stream Elements. If you want to know how to get just this, go learn Stream Elements. If you're still on like Streamlabs for some reason, similar there, slight different. The point is you're going to get your stuff in here. However, maybe you're really fancy and what do you call it? Maybe you're really fancy and you've built your own like sort of web page widget that hooks into an API of whatever you want. Cool, good on you. But I feel like if you can get how to do that, you probably don't need this sort of like walkthrough of ideas of ways to make a fancy just with OBS. Like maybe I'm making weird assumptions there, but that's just kind of how I feel about it. God, no, I gotta fix this logo first because it's, as soon as I can picture in my head like the thing that I needed to do to work, I'm like, okay, well now I can't not see that. I want to go 40. I want to go 90. I believe this makes sense. I'm going to change these into percentages because going from words to percentages hurts my brain. So 45 degrees, and then yeah, I'm going to reverse these. And I think that'll actually do it the way I want it. Oh! Not exactly. Maybe I did have it the right way, and it was just annoying me that it wasn't like nodding on the completion. So let's go back to 25 and 75. That means that this is as close as I'm going to have it for now. Yeah, it's pretty good. See, because the other way about it is like I could make it longer, and I could make it go like dot 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 dot. I guess it doesn't even have to be longer, but instead of the 4 extents of the nods, it would have to be like 6 extents of the nods, which means I'd have to divide 100 by 7. No, still only by 6, because then the bonus one is 0. It's 0 is basically a bonus as a free percentage. What? All right. That's fine. All right. Let's go back. Okay. Here was the question. The question was, who in 1970 whatever? Okay, we want to look at Spacer. I'm starting to get tired, I think. We've been going at this for a little while. We've been doing this for 3 hours? Okay. Still, I hope maybe then that means it's a good sign that you can go from scratch to something halfway decent in like the span of an afternoon. You know, we're doing it in an evening, but like, and if you come in with like better like notes, more of a vision than I've come in with, then you could probably go even faster, or you can at least make something nicer in the same amount of time. Like I'm really smacking 2 brain cells together here to come up with anything. Let's go 965 by 115. I like the sound of that. Here we go. New. We want 965, 115. 965? Really? Yeah, all right. Okay, we're doing this. And where's my cam frame? I'm gonna do this the cheap way. I'm gonna copy this layer. I'm gonna bring this layer over. I'm gonna figure out where. There it is. There's that cheeky little bugger. I'm gonna kind of. Okay, we're gonna duplicate it. The first one I want over here, and we'll line it up on these edges. That's probably good enough. You know what? This might be, I do like the notch in there. Then this one, we'll bring it up here and do this, right? Oh, actually that looks kind of cool with the overlay effect. That was kind of by mistake, but maybe it wasn't. Okay, so oh, you know what? I don't want to use these because these are the flattened, so they have the what they have the no, it's not. Wait, it's not flattened. It's really flattening when I paste it. Oh, that's a shame. Maybe that's because it's on the clipboard. Maybe if I like, can I drag it? I cannot drag it. If I highlight, will it swap? No. Can I copy the layer style? I can export it as like a preset layer style. You know what I can do? I can oh wait, did I no, here I can turn this off. And I can copy this. and then I can do something afterwards. Great words. Honestly, yeah, if I really wanted to match, then probably exporting the styles. That if that's got to be the way I got to copy the style, then all right, I'll copy the style that way, I guess. Big meanie. Oh, you know what? I'll paste it again just to move over, just to grab. Whoops. I want these. I want these. I want these in here because that'll be not thematic, but it'll be a is a visual motif a thing? Am I just thinking of the word motif? I want this. I want to cut and paste it exactly right there because then we can get rid of the rest of that layer. I want to take this. I want to cut off the parts that interrupt what's below it. And then I want to take away from what's below it the parts that interrupt it. And then we bring everything back up. And that's what I'm looking for. And now we flatten this. It's really just like making mashed potatoes. Show me these FX. All right, I'm gonna, you know what? I'll export it right into the same where we put the rest of this today because why not? Because why the heck not? Just style from that one layer. Okay. I can cancel that. I can come over here. I merged it with the. There we go. I want to merge it like that. No, that's close. E. Yes. Fucking layers. Import. Style from that one layer. Hey. Ooh. Good enough. It matches. No, we need to. Oh, what did we do last time? We need to resize the canvas, and we need to add 50 to each. So this would make it 115. Yeah, and no, wait, 1015. Yeah, okay. No, yeah, no, yeah. And add 50 to this is the easy one. Okay, so how do you like that? It actually. Okay, so then before I do that, let me. Oh yeah, that's what is actually on the layer. Interesting. But that explains why the bevel is broken near the edges. I just. Close. Whoops, too far. Undo history. Oh god, what did I just do? Okay, I gotta redo all of these things. Flatten it, fucking layers. Layer style. Import. Style from that one layer. Good. And now, how am I gonna cut just this? I want to select. Yeah, that's weirdly. Let's select from. Yeah, it's doing that. Oh, but I want to select. Is there a way to be like select visible, flatten? Oh, you know what? I think if I do this again. No, all that did was discard my style. Okay. That's my style. Okay, what if I fill this and then say this only applies to that, and now no, because it's okay. All right. I'll do it the hard way. All right. I'll do it the hard way, but the way that I know will work. This freaking. So wait, am I? Oh, it does snap. Okay, hang on. I want to XV. I want to load the layer style onto this layer. I gotta. Oh boy. Wait, so styles, custom styles. Oh my gosh, I've loaded it so many times now. I was not understanding how that works. Good, now we can throw this away. And, yes, now you can see the bevel is working all around. Yes, that is much better, much more intentional. Similar. I want to do one more thing, which is I want to select all of this opposite. Again, deselect our notches over here because I just want the inside. This time I want to put, like I said, because in order to get those fonts non-white, I'd have to change the CSS somewhere, but honestly, I kind of like them white. So what I'm going to do to make them easier to read is we're going to fill this in black. Then we're going to lower the opacity to like, I don't know, 55, just over, you know what, this one, let's go 65, a bit more than over half. So what this will do is this will give us our, it'll darken the background and let us see it better. Yes, the end. Oh, right, I still need to, right, this is the whole reason I needed to trim it to the trim it, because then when we add the 50 to each, now we have it all, and with the drop shadow and yada yada, and that's what we were looking for. And okay, so if I leave the drop shadow as is, then they'll feel like they have the same height off the backdrop, but they will look different because this border is much thinner than the other one. Does it matter that much? I mean, the answer is no, especially not for not for the sake of example. I'm turning it up to 75 and I'm saving it as is. This is called tracker box. Okay, back to OBS. That's good. The logo is still bouncing. I'm so happy with that. You have no idea. Just like we thought. We want to know an image. This one's called tracker box. Hey, guess which image is going to be? Tracker box. And we're going to basically put it, yeah, right there. And then when we hide spacer, we do want it to be under the panels. So one thing we do need, though, is because this is... So we could have baked a title onto this image here. But now that I'm looking at it, I realize I didn't do it. But that's okay, because I'm also remembering that I wanted to do this as another example. We can just add text. We can just add text in VLC. This is going to be tracker, and I'm gonna call this text dash tracker box because it is text and that tells me which one it is. And we use nice Terra. We don't need it that big. Let's make it 24-ish. And we're gonna call it latest event. That's probably how you spell that, right? Yeah, that's probably good. So now that we have that, I'm just gonna put this here, and we're gonna put this next to it, and we can. I'm gonna drop this a little. I want these to be kind of centered in the box. I would not be happy with this particular layout for this box as like a finished product, per se. Actually, you know what? I will center this between here and there. I'm trying to think, because if the name gets longer, I don't actually know if it's left justified, center justified. I don't know if it'll cut off extra long names. I'm really not sure how that's going to behave, so I'm just gonna try to give both of these pretty good space in here. And a cute logo, and yeah, okay. Now we also have chat box, and yeah, that looks like an overlay, and I do have stream element up. I'm looking at this one, and the thing that I can do is, not that we really need to, but I'm going to emulate a follower event. Hey, I'm going to do a bit more. Hey, now that's working, and that's live, and that's Jolyn, Britann, Melody, Renelle, Marnie, Kathy, Jenny from the block. There you go. Okay, that's... Hey, listen, remember I said I wasn't going to show that off too? Too bad, I showed that off. But now I think we have pretty much everything that we would have wanted. We started with a black void, camera, mic, video that we're looking at source, chat box, tracker, animated background. Okay, so right. If we say text and tracker box, this can all be grouped into tracker box. The window capture, that's probably a separate. Oh, that was the one for the CSS web page, so we don't really need that. We have the fancy logo. I'm not going to use the old flag logo, which reset when it is kind of cute. It's a very simple effect, although this CSS powered one. I've had the idea for the CSS powered one for a little while. This is the first time I actually set it up and got it working. So technically you got to see that part from scratch too. That's cool. All I brought was my existing CSS knowledge and experience. And even then I had to look up almost the entire thing. But I'll get rid of flag logo from here. I'm going to get rid of spacer because I'm calling this done. Yeah, we have chat. Like I could put a chat box, but I kind of like a chat frame, kind of like our follower frame. But I actually really like the chat just sort of like popping up in this negative space up here. I'm actually a pretty big fan of that, especially for this specific layout, right? These clouds themselves could use a okay, so hang on. I'm looking at the background animation. I take one of the clouds, I look at the filter, and I want to do color correction because I think I put too little contrast, so I can kind of just take the contrast and just do it. Oh, is this so tight that here, if I actually bring the gamma down, does that help it out? Yeah, I need to adjust the gamma now. I want to bring it like, yeah, now that looks really visible. Bring the saturation up it. No, wait, that's saturation. Right, that is adjusting the saturation of the like baseline image, which is in grayscale. It has no saturation anyway, so I would have to go to this one and saturate it slightly more. Yeah, okay, now that's... See, now it's a little too saturated. If I was being really exactly on my game about all these colors, I would like get close and then I would bake in the colors that I want, because you would want the shadows to be more saturated than the highlights because of ambient lighting reasons. And honestly, there's probably a real finicky way to make that happen with like keying and color correction and filters. But that is way more of a headache than just getting the colors right and baking them in. I do need to go adjust them and unsaturate that a little bit again. How's that? No, a little more. That I'll learn to live with that. Okay. Yeah, there you go. And like, okay, if we look at our sources over here, when we expand everything, yeah, this is pretty busy, because to get our nice little animated whatever background, it is one, two, three, four, five altogether. But then it collapses into one group. I can deal with that. Our cam width frame, it's 2, but it collapses into 1. Our tracker box, it's 3, but we collapse it into 1. Maybe the fancy logo goes on top. Maybe the stream chat goes on top of everything. Actually, I kind of like the idea of the stream chat goes... I could stick it in the background and put it between the clouds, so it's on top of the top clouds and below the bottom clouds. I was actually thinking, if I wasn't using the cam, then in the bottom corner over here, I could even see, like, you know, use your virtual avatar or whatever, but you could even like set the bottom of it behind the clouds, so you're like peeking out of the clouds. If you did that, you're the bottom clouds. So if I copy you and paste another reference, then we could stick you in here, and then we push you up a little bit. Nope, because you have to go down because we're on the y-axis and computers are weird. 0 is at the top of the screen. We also need to put you behind that, and then messing with this. You know what? I would have to make it another instance anyway, because let me paste a duplicate, because here's what I'm gonna do. I want to bring this up. No, not the wait. No, yeah, clouds. I don't know why that position is so whack. Oh, it's so whack because it's boy, I've completely lost these, huh? Right, I was going down again. God, I'm losing it. Yeah, so not only is positive Y down because the top left corner of the screen is 0, 0, but groups are a little weird in that the group has a transformation, which is going to be like where the group is going to have a transformation, which is basically where the top left of the full group selection is, or wherever you're set its like position origin to be. So center, the top center, whatever. But then everything inside of it sort of resets. So if the group is located at like 10, 10, then the thing in the group will be at 0, 0 to be at the top left of the group. It resets it. So if you set it to 10, 10 as well, that's actually going to be 20, 20, because it's 10 for the group, another 10 for the thing within the group. But then it also tries to be smart about it, and if that is the top leftmost thing, it just moves the group down with it. So what you'll end up with is the group at 2020 and the thing still at 00 because it knows it is the top leftmost thing. It tries to get smart about that in a way that just gives me a headache sometime, which is why grouping them is the last thing I do. And then I lock it and I never touch it again because I'm scared of breaking it. I've gotten okay at fixing it if I do break it, but okay, so the reason for this, because I actually want to change the filters on this. I want the color correction. Actually, I want to bring the whole thing down a little bit in order to create a sense of separation by using value. I also want to lower the scroll. If that's 7, let's go 5. Let's go 4. Because what that'll do is that, 1, it'll push it out of sync. 2, it gives it a parallax effect because things further away from you move slower because of that's the nature of depth and perspective. Art class. That's why, because art class. But then, let's say I bring myself back. Where am I? I'm here. Hello. If I wanted to be fancy about it, let's see here. How do I mimic? I also have setups for like PNG tubers and whatever elsewhere, but I want to do this quickly. Give me main cam, copy. I want to paste a reference to main cam. Hello. I'll hide that one. Put me in here between those clouds, right? Because then I can kind of be over here, and now I am. That's enough. By now setting me down here, that's what I'm looking for. I want to go against the thing and against the thing, and that'll be that. As long as I'm under the thing of the clouds, now I'm sitting in the clouds. Hooray! I think that's a good gag. I think it is a good gag to be in the clouds. Actually, since you can't really see my arms anyway, but now you get the in front of and behind effect on that, and that's. Does that make me a gorilla in the mist? I do not know what that is referencing. That's a reference I've heard a long time. I imagine that's. Which one's Jane Goodall and which one's Jane Austen?
Goodall is the apes, Austen is the novels.
Did she write a novel about apes?
I mean, she probably has written books about her experiences.
No, Jane Austen.
Oh, no.
Oh. Jane Goodall. I imagine it's a reference to Jane Goodall somehow. Probably not. I'm dumb, you see. Yeah, that's we've done it. This is actually slightly more than my doodle. This is I'll be honest, once I did the doodle, I did like could have continued thinking about it, and I was like, oh yeah, we can do the logo, we can do the thing. I had a different idea for like another layer at the bottom, but we really don't need it. The clouds themselves are good, and we have the tracker bar or the frames or whatever to make it look okay. I like this. Hey, let me say this real quick. I actually really like this. I don't know if I'm gonna start using it. I might. Like I said, I'm gonna do something with this logo effect. $100 divided by 6 isn't that even either, is it? Because 5 is 20s, 10 is 10s, which means like 7.5 would be 5s. But if I double it, I'll figure that out on my own time. I'm gonna call this done. I'm gonna call this cool. I'm gonna say I think this is cool. if you think this is cool, then it's cool. I think this is cool, so I'm just gonna call it done. Um, if you don't think it's cool, maybe now you have an idea of what you would do to it to make it cool, and maybe even how to do it. And again, like I said, all we've really used here tonight is we used OBS, we used Krita, but if you already have any image software, there's a word missing. But if you have Photoshop, if you have Psy, if you use the GIMP, sure. Basically whatever to create your graphics. So here's the other bit. Like if you maybe like okay, maybe you're like me and you can do the graphics, but you don't necessarily have a grip on After Effects. Maybe you are uh even less sort of artistically inclined than that, and you can't even do the sort of image creation stuff. I don't know. Maybe do some of this and find who knows. I want to say clip art, but it's not 1994. Um, yeah, at some point you kind of just got to find a way to get if you want specific parts and you want to get images, but like there's stuff out there. There's you can find patterns. You can always commission which also like maybe then we're back at the thing we were trying to avoid at the start of having to like commission art, but like I'm pretty sure commissioning like pieces of an overlay is probably going to be cheaper than commissioning the full animated overlay itself. Um, yeah, I don't know how to get around that, but I figured all of this out. That's the part that I do know how to figure out. So I think I get a bit of a pass if I don't know how to figure that part out. Okay, all right, that's what I'm gonna say. I gotta give myself some credit here. It's survival instincts. All right, yeah, my brain's about done. I am shocked we almost hit midnight when I started an hour early. Oh my gosh. Um, and yeah, that's gonna do it. I don't know how to wrap this up because I look at this and I go like, all right, well I'm not done with this because I need to change the. Ooh, is that logo starting to get jittery? Ooh, so that is the I'll say that is like a downside to this is that um even though theoretically everything in here is like leaner in the sense that we are not loading a full 1080 MP4 and playing it on loop. Um, everything is being, rendered in OBS very quickly. Or in real time. So the idea of like, yeah, if I think OBS has some memory leak issues on its own. I don't know about like leak, but like it's sometimes it chugs. Um, if I just restart this fancy logo, does it get smoother? Turn it off and turn it on. No, that's just as framey as it was. That's weird. Huh. Let me throw it to just chatting so I stop looking at it and trying to change it. Everything else is running fine. Weird little things. That's what I'm gonna chuck it up to. Hang on, I want it back. I want it back. I want it back. I love it so much. I want it back. I want it big, even though now I'm seeing that it's having issues and I don't know why for. Um, okay, I gotta stop talking and go to bed. Um, let me say it this way. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you learned something. I was just have fun making myself sound smart by explaining a thing which I had trouble figuring out. So it's like, oh, if I figured this out, it must be impressive that I figured it out. If it was hard to figure it out, but I did, then that must be impressive. Let me see if I can impress anybody by sharing it. Boy, I'm done. I hope you learned something. I had fun. I hope you did too. All right, this is Friday. This is a bonus stream. Uh, Tomorrow's Saturday. I'm gonna do something. Next week is doing more travelogue, more Doom 64. I'm just gonna play straight through that because I'm into it. And I think starting next weekend, I'm gonna do the late night streams on starting on Friday instead of on Saturdays because Friday nights are better for me mentally usually. Can't explain why that is right now, but that seems to be the case. Uh, and yeah, that'll be next week. That'll be then. Um, I also don't have an outro screen to throw to because we built every scene here from scratch. All right, give me that. This is how we're gonna end it. I'm gonna build the outro screen. Okay. Let's take just chatting. Let's duplicate it. Okay. Things we don't need from just chatting for the outro. We don't need the camera. We don't need the video. I do want text. Give me text. Text dash outro. Now it's gonna maybe appear. I want to say thanks for watching. I can probably capitalize that W. I'm gonna Control F to fit it, which is actually the quick way to do the bounding box thing. Now I want to make cute logo bounce down here. Gonna edit this text some more because I actually want to make it. What is it? What's the one that I've used all over here? Nice. Nice Terra. There we go. I'm gonna bring it in from the. Actually, so there's two ways to bring it in from the edges. Either I bring in the box or I add spaces to the text, which I usually like doing it that way. No, I actually want this text to appear like down here. And cute logo can go. See, I want it to be like between there, and we'll center it. And I'll bring it down manually a bit because because of the drop shadow, it actually like sits. It goes higher than the frame of it sits. I gotta figure out why that's rendering so slow. Is there a thing? I'm still poking at things. This is not the one with all the rendering delays on it. Okay, that's a good start. Refresh browser when scenes become active. Sure. When scene becomes active. No, maybe. Refresh? No. Is it because I'm trying to render it so big? You know what? I don't know. It is what it is. I'm gonna figure out how to center it properly too. I'll clean it up on my own time. Yeah, that's gonna do it. Thanks for watching. The last I have the chat up. Some people like chat on the end screen. I like to have it sometimes because sometimes the conversation continues for a little bit after the show does. I'm gonna take that off of here. We have the text, we have the fancy logo, we have the same animated background, and we get a really good look on it here. The background, yeah, no, the background is scrolling. You can catch it at the top left corner. It's going, it's gone, and now it's on to the other line. Very subtle, but it's scrolling. I kind of like it because the only time you really notice that that's happening is like if you're doing an edit on the archive or something and you're watching it in fast forward and then suddenly it's just like, oh wait, that is moving, I didn't notice it before, while everything else is flying by that's moving at like a normal pace. Okay, the only other thing to take out of the scene is the microphone source, and as soon as I do that I won't be able to talk anymore, and that's when the stream is going to be over, and that's what I'm doing now. Goodbye.